Let's go. If you Focus, are you ready?
Reverb Experiment episode number 34.
Four. Shaquille O'Neal.
We got G_Focus on the mic.
Focus.
We got Steph.net on the mic.
What's good?
We got Rajeo on the mic.
Be out on the bumper clock, Joe.
Hold on. Now we can finally use that and actually mean something. We got Photo B on the mic, not on camera, but he's here in the building.
Hey, good morning.
Looking like a Rasta Samoan boy.
A Rasta Samoan, what you say? I just want to make sure. Samoan in the arms, Rasta in the hair. And somewhere else.
And we have a special guest with us today, a friend of the show.
Is that a hybrid?
Very much integral part of the family, the Reverb Nation that we've been telling y'all to join ever since episode 1. We got Zenzi in the building.
I swear to God, I was gonna bust shot.
You gotta know. You gotta know we kinfolk.
Hey, so we're gonna let you introduce yourself, man, because you got all these titles and you've been around the world and done all these crazy things.
You gonna do it too?
So go ahead and introduce yourself. We're gonna have you pull that mic a little bit closer to you so we can make sure we get all the words.
All right, so I'm a combat veteran. I deployed with the Army Special Forces.
Okay, that means she can bust them.
Yeah, the was in the Navy, and basically back in like 2000, I think 11, the Army needed more people to support them. So Congress passed something that said you can borrow people from other branches. I had always been expeditionary Navy, so like what they call a dirt sailor. I've always been in the green uniform on the ground. So they said, hey, we need someone that has this expertise. I said, I'll go. Where am I going? They said, it's secret. We can't tell you. You'll find out when you get there. So showed up in Afghanistan all alone. Like, here's my stuff. I'm like, I don't know. It's secret.
Nigga, we knew this war was going on.
It's a secret.
Right, it's a secret. So get picked up by some SF people. And it was a really interesting experience. You know, I learned a lot. I'm grateful for it because the difference between like regular Army and SF is there's a lot of time with the actual people of Afghanistan. I was in Kabul.
Okay. So then you can give us some insight.
I do have some insight.
Some insight. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna give you another round of applause. Thank you for coming on to the pod. You always active in the comments, but it's good to have your voice and have you here with us in person. So on today's show, we're gonna talk about Kanye versus Drake. The beef continues.
I love it.
We're gonna talk about Ace Hood and him setting tough boundaries.
I love it.
That should be a really good conversation.
I love it.
And to start off the pod, we're going to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson and the controversy that is circling around her. But before we get in there, we want to thank everybody that has been listening via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all streaming platforms. We want to invite you guys to please comment, to like the YouTube page, like the Facebook page, and just interact with us. We are very active.
Yeah,
we try to,
and we're not shadow banned anymore. Numbers going crazy.
Yeah,
we want to hear what you got to say.
Yes, we want to hear what you got to say, and we would like to interact with you guys as fans, and as, like I said, we consider everybody family. And then before we get into the bigger conversation, I was looking up, man, this weekend is kind of crazy. So today, you guys are going to probably be hearing this on Monday, but today, Saturday the 28th, marks the 66th year of Emmett Till's death.
Bro, that's so young.
Yeah. It feels like the way they make it, you know, and it's funny that whenever they put it in history books, it's always black and white to make it seem like it happened so long ago. That was 66 years ago.
That's so young. That's the same age as my pop.
Yeah. Today also marks the 58th year anniversary of the March on Washington. That's not that long ago.
That's the same age as my mom's.
And we want to stand in,
like, happened yesterday.
Stand in solidarity with the people in Louisiana because Hurricane Ida is going to, well, they're predicting that it's going to set foot or land tomorrow night. Huh?
Hit landfall or something?
Yeah, tomorrow night. So they're saying
Sunday,
that
yeah.
for the people that are unprepared, that it is going to be life-changing. So this also marks, I don't remember what the year it is. I think it may be the 6th or 7th anniversary of Katrina. And
no.
Was that 2015, wasn't it?
Katrina was 2015?
No.
Hell
Let's
no.
pull it up.
Katrina was like 2000.
2006.
Oh, 6? Okay, well, okay, so Tony was
Because remember,
15. So I know the 15 kind of stood out to me. So I think it may be the 15th year anniversary then, which is not really
2005.
2005.
So you're just 10 years off.
16.
So 16.
Okay, 16. Thank you
yeah.
for looking it up. We appreciate that. Bottom line is at the same time, same place, and
That's crazy.
hopefully it's not the same damage. But
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, my niece evacuated to Atlanta because she's out there for school. So
hmm
they saying it's gonna be bad.
A-Town down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It'll be bad.
And
So-
hopefully, they've been able to get as much people as possible out
Mhm.
because one thing is you got to have the money to evacuate.
Yeah.
And as someone who lived in the Low Country in Georgia, when they say, "Oh, it's time to go," they're
It's time
like,
to go.
"We are not going to be able to come get to you. So
Right.
if you don't leave,
Yep.
you're on your own."
But
Right.
when you're like when I was in Houston and it was Hurricane Ike came through. It was like, okay, y'all saying leave, but where we going? We broke. We ain't got, you know what I mean? And then
Exactly.
and then the other thing is like everybody's trying to leave. So the gas stations ain't got no gas.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's lines like miles long of people trying to get gas and they're like, we out. They be price gouging. You know
Hotels
what I mean?
go crazy.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
And I was like, after that, I moved back. I was like, I'm not about this life. Y'all do this every year?
Yeah.
Girl, I swear to God, that's why I moved back to California
couldn't do
because
it.
I'm like, I'm in, near Savannah, Fort Stewart, Hinesville, and in one, little short time frame of hurricane season. Remember, it's hurricane season.
Season.
Every year.
It's like 3 hurricanes, 3 mandatory evacuations for me, and that doesn't make any sense. And like you said, I'm in, 4 hours away from Atlanta. So then you think, okay, let me go to Atlanta. Everything's booked up. You can't get a hotel. My little brother was in Mississippi, Long Beach, Mississippi, like right by New Orleans. I had to go all the way over there with him at his command. He's in the Navy too, to even have some place to stay. And all those hotels were booked up. We were in like the Little
Yeah, that's
Roach Hotel. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So-
It's insane. And then like my job ended up like getting damaged, so I couldn't work. But then they're like, your rent still due. Everything,
Your
you know what I'm
rent still
saying?
due.
It's like I can't even work. Like I don't even know when I'm going back to work.
Yeah,
Right.
it's crazy.
It's insane. Like,
And then I know in those documentaries for Katrina, like they were saying, like obviously it's the deep South, so they were white people like blocking off neighborhoods and having armed with guns and
So
you know
they
what I
couldn't
mean,
leave?
and
So they couldn't leave?
well, I'm just saying like
They're
they were
very,
segregating
like,
themselves
outliers.
because now it's survival of the fittest, and if there's limited resources. You know what I mean? Like we already just dealt with the whole Trump shit. So now it's like even heightened up on that. You know what I mean? So people just trying to survive, but you got white people trying to protect what they got and their resources and things like that. So, that was after the, hurricane hit, but still what I'm just saying is that it's just,
You're looking forward to that possibility.
it's kind of a worst case scenario that you're dealing with the pandemic. You're dealing with all the politics stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be dealing with hurricane that may have came. So people that were already down and out because of maybe not being able to work during the pandemic, all the mental health stuff that was going on. Now you're having to deal with being displaced, no home, no car, whatever it is. So yeah, you're asking people that are in poverty to find somewhere to shelter. It's like, well, where do I go?
That's why we're here in the
Exactly.
first place. We're in
that's
poverty.
why I can't stand when I see people like online, like, oh, well, they should have left. And I'm like, bro, if you ain't never been in that situation,
You don't know.
you
what's
don't
up.
know.
Yeah, you don't know.
And people in California don't realize, like, when you get to those southern states, a lot of those people, like Georgia, that part, a lot of those people are in trailers. There's not a lot of houses and homes. And the homes that are there, especially where I was, they're asking California prices for rent. It's expensive because there's that lack of housing. They're charging extra. So when you start hearing tornadoes are coming or hurricanes are coming, it's like, where are these people supposed to go?
Right. Yeah. So it's crazy. So, any way that we can help, we're definitely going to post it and make sure that we keep everybody informed as much as possible. I know there's a lot of organizations that you have to be extremely careful on who you give and donate to, because most of the money doesn't end up going to the people that it's intended for. I know there was a big thing with the Red Cross during the biggest hurricane, and with the help with Haiti and things like that. So if you do want to help, I just recommend to just do all your research, because you want to make sure that you are actually helping and not trying to pad somebody else's pockets. Other sad news is the attack in Kabul. Where it has been reported that more than 170 people were killed and at least 200 people were wounded. And looks like that 13 U.S. service members were killed as of the last update that I have, and 18 were injured in an attack that was at the Kabul airport. So that was right when, obviously, we've been trying to evacuate out of there because of the orders that Trump said we were going to be out of there, and Biden is trying to basically get us out of there. I think he said before the 31st of August, correct?
Before the 31st. Trump agreed with the Taliban. He set a meeting, which is crazy, with the Taliban originally on 9/11 on American soil. So I hear a lot of people criticizing Biden, but I want people to remember that this has been multiple administrations and they've all failed us. When Trump decided to sit down, because we have a policy, we say we do not negotiate with what? Terrorists. So the moment that you decide to sit down and talk to these people, what are you doing? You're legitimizing them as a political entity and no longer as a terrorist group. So that was problem number one. Now, the people that committed this attack, because this is what the U.S. does, right? We support one group after we've destabilized the country. And then when we don't like them, we pull out. Like that's what we did with Saddam Hussein. We put him in power. Right. And then we'd killed him. And then it creates a power vacuum. The people that did this attack are fighting the Taliban as well.
It was ISIS, right?
It's ISIS. Yeah. It's an ISIS terrorist cell group. So now what do? We just hope and pray, like, come on, Taliban, fight them. Like, the whole thing is such a bad, I can't even say a bad plan, because it's not planned. I don't know if I'm allowed. That's a word we love in the military. Clusterfuck, because that's exactly what it is. Me personally, as someone that was in Kabul for 12 months, I'm not surprised at all. I had Afghan people, young men that I had worked with that worked on base, DMing me even before all of this, saying, can you please help me? Do you remember my dad? He sold clothes on base, and can you write something so he can come? And it's sad because, like, there's nothing I could write that's going to make the U.S. government get you here. What should have happened, and I strongly, if anyone feels sorry for the Afghan people, if you feel like motivated to do anything, write your senator, write your representative, because what they need to do is fix the SIV process, the special immigrant visa. It doesn't make sense that these people qualify for this visa, right? Because we're saying they worked for us and the Taliban is threatening them and their families' lives. This visa process is a 3 to 5 year process, but your life is being threatened. How does that make any sense?
Your life's done today.
Even at that point.
Exactly. But my interpreter is here. He's here in Sacramento with his family, so I'm very thankful for that. People do get through. But the process, if Trump was going to say we're pulling out, I feel like he should have also did an executive action and sped up that process. There's lots of processes that presidents have fixed that are broken. I'm a veteran, like we all know. I filed for disability, and it took 24 months for them to process it. So the VA had this backlog, and when they finally give you your money, then they're like, oh, we owe you $40,000. The Obama administration said that doesn't make any sense. Let's speed up this process. The Obama administration came in and said 6 months. Executive action is what he took. I'm saying you have to fix this. These have to be processed within 6 months. The VA freaked out, but guess what? They've been processing them within 6 months. and they've been doing it for years now. It can be done, and it will be done if you make people do it. And that should be the same process for the immigrant visas.
Right.
These SIV immigrant visas need to be processed in a timely manner, not 5 years. That's ridiculous.
See, I think the problem with what you're saying is, what you're saying is absolutely correct. But if Trump would have did that, then it would have made it look like that he was backpedaling on immigration.
Yep.
Exactly.
And so it's all politics. At the end of the day, that's really what it boils down to.
Yep.
It's the optic of it, and it's not really the logical. Because logically, what you're saying makes total sense. But if he would have did that, then it would have been like, oh, well, I thought you were building the wall, and I thought you were tough on immigration.
Muslim ban.
Exactly.
Yeah, a whole bunch of things that he said would have been contradictory. I mean, like, not that a bunch of it wasn't already, but you can't lose your core.
To his base.
You can't lose. I was going to say, exactly what I was going to say, you can't lose your core fan
But
base.
right now, his base is freaking out like, oh, Biden, you're killing Marines. And I'm like, pause.
Yeah.
Be real. They wouldn't be there trying to evacuate these people last minute if we had processed the visas in a timely manner and got them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good insight. That's insight that for me personally, I can say I wouldn't have even thought of.
Right, because we don't know anything about that.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know anything as far as when it comes to the inner workings and how that all works and what may have contributed
you just know
to it.
that usually when it comes to the federal government or any situation like that, the inner workings don't really work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Yeah. It's a very, look, my interpreter, he was so frustrated because, first of all, you got to think about who are the people that join the military a lot of time. It's disenfranchised Americans.
Yeah.
So, like, black people, we're 13% of the U.S. population, right? But we have the highest percent of our population serving in the military. Where else do they come from? They come from Trump land, from mid-America, down south, and they come with those ideals. So when you have an Afghan interpreter who's saying, hey, I want to come to the United States, those people who are in our chain of command usually are not us. It's older white men, and they don't really want to sign off on that paperwork, even though that person deserves it.
Right.
And for my terp, I had to really push the issue because I'm like, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Right.
For years.
Yeah.
He's doing
And you know what? I got heat for it. They would call the Afghan, oh, go get your kids. You know, they had big jokes.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? I believe in standing up for what's right. And we don't always do the right thing.
Right.
And that's what people need to realize. The situation that we're in is because we did not do the right thing. If we had done the right thing in 1970, what we did was a lot of people say, oh, we trained bin Laden. And there's like truth in that, but that's not exactly what it was. In the 1970s, we had, you know, a Cold War. We didn't want the Soviets to have that power in Afghanistan. So we helped the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen are fighters, warriors. And Afghanistan has different tribes. So there was people from the north and people from the south. The southern tribe is the majority of the population, Pashtuns, and that's where the Taliban originates from. They really don't like the northern people because the northern people tend to be like Tajik, Hazara. They're different. They're more Asian looking, like phenotypically. And I don't know if you've ever seen where they like blew up the biggest statues of Buddha in like the world, some of the oldest, biggest statues. That's because those people, like if you look at the region, Afghanistan's very close to both Russia and Asia. So they're different type of people. So when we talk about we train the Taliban, it's kind of disrespectful because we train these whole different groups of people,
right,
including the Northern Alliance, who would later be the people who are fighting the Taliban, who are mostly in Kabul. So that's part of the reason why now you see these people in Kabul who are in the north freaking out because the Taliban's marching up from the south and coming in. And they're like, get us out of here. That just complete hate for women, for the other ethnic groups. For anything that's really Western, that means cell phones. They're cutting off cell phones.
I heard that they can bring CD
Western
players
clothes,
MP3
players,
players,
exactly. Music, that's gone. When I was in Kabul, you would see little kids. They got them parachute pants on and high tops like it's the 90s. They be like, dance with me, madame, dance with me. I swear. And that's out. That's done. Man, these kids would come. It's like, dude, like 21, like, look, striker. You know, he got a little tattoo that looked like a 2-year-old drew it, but they thought it was tight. That's out. You know what I mean? People, just like anyone here, you want to live a good life. You want your kids to be able to have good things. Mm-hmm. And we failed from the very beginning, because in the 1970s, we knew after the Soviets had pulled out, after they were defeated, by the Mujahideen, we knew that there was a rising tide of extremism in the South. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But we didn't care about the people of Afghanistan.
We wanted the resources.
It's not even the resources. We just didn't want the Soviets to have the resources.
Yeah, that was our main agenda. But doing that,
we've always been against them. Sputnik and everything.
Then once again, then it leaves a vacuum where extremists can then take power, mm-hmm. and then it ends up biting you in the butt.
And it's usually
later.
force of violence, right?
So,
whoever is more violent in the
exactly. Mm-hmm. So we spent 20 years there. Now we're pulling out, and we're doing the exact same thing, leaving another power vacuum. Mm-hmm. Like, how did this benefit us at all? We are not any more safe. I can say, honestly, if you look at the last couple years, how many Americans have died in Afghanistan?
Right. Too many.
No, the last couple of years, it's been relatively
I'm talking about over the 20
over the 20 years, it's like 5 to maybe 7,000. I don't know the exact number.
Right.
In 2013, when I was there, we were at like 5,000. But it's been relatively stable like the last 4 or 5 years. When I was there and I was getting ready to leave, I'm with a group of guys that we would bring in every day to come help build our SF base. And they were like begging me, do not go home. I told them, like, Hona Buru. They're like, no, Hona Barim. And Hona Buru is I go home. Hona Barim is we. Mm-hmm. They're like, take us with you. And then one of the elders, he held my hand and he said, America no leave. Like, you stay Afghan. America leave, Talib come. They're so afraid of the Taliban coming back. Mm-hmm. And what we don't realize is, like, here we have as far as a first world country, not the best educational system, mm-hmm. but we do have a good educational system. We have qualifications to join our military, right? You got to pass the ASVAB. You got to be able to do your math, science, English, right? Certain mm-hmm. age, certain mm-hmm. height, weight. Mm-hmm. Only like 5% of the U.S. population can even qualify to join our military.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't make it right now.
It's selective. Yeah.
No, I'm overage.
Yeah, you're overweight.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie, that is what it is. You're not too old.
Oh.
But
I'm young enough.
Don't feel bad. They ain't taking my broken ass back neither. They gonna be like,
I don't feel bad. I don't want to go.
For real.
Okay. I'll be overweight.
Y'all
damn.
But it is. You have to have it's based on BMI, and realistically, a lot of people are gonna look at that BMI chart and say, "Oh no,
I ain't never gonna be 120, whatever the fuck I'm."
And what's the BMI requirement?
It's your height to weight.
I know, but what's the what? Okay.
You gotta pull up the chart. You gotta pull up the chart.
Well, I just want to know what the requirement is.
It's gonna be based on your height. So for me, I'm 5'5". I have to be under 150 pounds. I joined at like 130. Me too. And 130 pounds, mm-hmm. I'm a size 2 when I joined, and that's perfect BMI for my height.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because they want you to be able to move and run, and in case of an emergency.
Well, yeah, because it's people's lives on
people's lives. You gotta be able to. Barry Sanders.
Man, it's easier to build you up than to take that weight off.
Right.
That's what they figure.
Exactly.
As basic training, they'll be like, eat peanut butter, work out, you're good to go. But
a lot of people.
Yeah, so for the people that are listening, this issue is obviously way more complex than what the media or what is portrayed on either Fox News or CNN. So if you're listening to what Zenzi is saying, you have to take into account that there are people that are hurting, there are people that are in danger, there are people that are scared. So it is not just a political issue, that this is a humane issue. And as Americans, we have to look at things in a 360 perspective. We can't only look at it from our perspective. We have to look at it from a world perspective. And I think that just in general, and then we're going to get on to the next topic. I think that just in general, we have bad because whenever we are taught about anything, it's always from a U.S. standpoint.
It's very
and we don't think about it from a world standpoint. Everywhere else in the world, they learn history from a world standpoint and not, I mean, they also learn their history, but United States, we're very much indoctrinated to being from a privileged U.S. We're always the good guys. We're always the heroes.
Bro, if they even in slavery, bro, they teach it from the perspective, right? So
a white supremacist standpoint.
Right.
Exactly.
From a right to
Always.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's always everything. I mean, it's really hard. A reason why I relate to a lot of it is a lot of my friends are vets. My brother is a Green Beret. He's a Ranger right now. He's doing extractions. So,
I love it because that's who I was with, Green Berets.
Yeah. So I get to hear all the crazy stories, and so it helped me to open up the way I was thinking, because he said that on his base they don't even report like friendly fire when people go rogue and kill their own soldiers and that kind of stuff. He's had that happen on his base twice.
Man.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's definitely a lot. So we just want to again just have a little bit more empathy, do some research, and we're obviously going to keep eyes on what's going on in Afghanistan. And we want to thank all of our veterans
that's a lot of information.
and all of our service members that have put their lives on the line, that have sacrificed, and that are over there. Or again, we want to give our respect to the family members that have lost people, family members, friends, husbands, wives that have went over to Afghanistan. Because again, this has been a 20-year war. This started with Bush. So
it's been 20 years, and me personally, when I was there, I watched 2 FOBs that we did. So 2 bases be rededicated to Green Berets that had died the deployment before us. So like you deploy in groups. One of those Green Berets had a 2-year-old son. I didn't know him personally, but the guys knew him. So we're rededicating it. They're sharing pictures. And I thought, wow, like this little boy will never know his dad.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to remember him.
yeah,
And now thinking about this, like as Kabul was falling, I was at home with tears in my eyes. Like I was sick, not just for, like as a veteran and, for my own people, but for Afghans. Like I said, it's a humanitarian issue.
Yeah.
But for the families also of people that have lost somebody.
Yeah.
Your dad's a Green Beret. He's supposed to stand for this American ideal of like, helping the world.
Right.
Their motto is to liberate the oppressed.
Right.
So it's crazy to just like drop it. We're done.
Yeah.
Not our
After
problem. We're out.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's more damaging than it is helpful.
Well, it kind of makes you think: was it
worth it at all?
Was it
in the
worth
first
it?
place?
So people's lives taken, and then I know there was like I was seeing like a lot of comments. You were like, when the Afghan people were trying to hold on to the plane that was leaving. Like, well, why would you do that? Why would you stop on a plane? Whatever. So from what you're hearing with Zenzi, there is a sense of urgency. There's desperation. That is not just they were just unintelligently doing that. They were trying to find any way that they can get out of what their situation is. So again, I just as not just as our community, but just people in general, just have a little bit more empathy.
Seriously, I seen somebody talking about, oh, they're just looking for attention, and I'm like,
looking for attention.
No, it's bad.
Like you did not see the person falling from the plane.
Yeah,
people. I don't think the American public really understood that. As a veteran, I felt like a lot of the time when I would tell people, like, no, that Afghans want us in Afghanistan. People would think I'm just being like, hoorah, I miss America or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's bad.
Yeah.
And I don't regret, like, I will always feel good about my time and what we did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know that we train the Afghan army.
Yeah.
We train the provincial response teams to get out there and go after these high-profile Taliban that were not good people.
Yeah.
And
then for that time, they were stable. It brought some stability. Yeah.
There was little girls that would come, they come selling the scarves. They're made by the hands of their mother. It's like a Burberry print scarf. But they'll come and tell you, like, Madame, buy this scarf today. And they're always like hella dramatic, like, like they're dying. Like, please, nobody has bought for me today. My mom made this by her own hands. And it's like made in China on the tag. But girl, me, I'm like, look, here's $2. Where did you learn English so good? In school, madame. So it's like in this country, when you're there, you know, I personally, my unit had to recover 2 trucks that were hit in Kabul by IEDs. And when I tell you these F-150s looked like just crumpled, you wouldn't even know they were vehicles. And for us, it's like, man, as traumatizing you think that is for soldiers, this is every day for the people that live there. And I felt bad, but I never like had a moment where I cried until I pulled up the picture from the Military Times where it had this little girl and the look in her face when she's holding her dad's hand, walking away from the guys that, like I said, we just recovered. That's what fucked with me. Because I realized, man, I'm sitting here counting down like I got 6 more months. But she doesn't get to leave in 6 months. She doesn't get to go back to the U.S. So that's what you got to realize is that for a minute we gave them hope. And that's what the United States really stands for, right? No matter what we've ever had going on in this country, Martin Luther King stood up there and he said, I had a dream. He had hope that we could do better. The founding fathers came here and they said, hey, we don't like what's going on in, you know, England, but we have hope that we can create something better. So we shared hope with people for 20 years and I will never regret that. Now, I'm sorry that for everyone that died.
That is dope. Hold on. We're going to have to get that round of applause now.
Yeah. And that's the only thing that I could say could possibly be comforting to those who have loved ones that lost their lives in Afghanistan is that, you know, it wasn't for nothing. We held back that wave of terrorism for 20 years. There's children that went to school. There's people that had a period in their life that was good because of us. You know, I remember there's this little boy that used to come. His dad was Taliban. We ended up not being able to bring him onto base after a while. But this little boy, I had gave him my soccer ball. My brother used to send like these big Hershey's chocolate bars. And he would be like, for me, madam? Like, yeah, for you. And that was my little homie, you know? So when I think about it, it's like, I don't know. You never know how he's going to grow up and what he'll think. He might think differently of women. You know, they don't often see, especially on base. Remember, I'm with all like big white guys. So this brown, you know, woman coming in, they would like to touch my hair. They'd be like, oh, you know, curls. I asked my interpreter, I'm like, why are they always like so fascinated with my hair? He said, all the time I've worked with the U.S., Zenzi, I've never seen anyone with hair like yours. So just those little things, they were like fascinated. There's this one guy that we're out digging ditches and we're building our camp. And the one guy's like, oh, black women are strong. Black women are beautiful. So, you know, you don't know how just those interactions change people's point of view and their focus. And I pray, you know, inshallah, that Afghanistan moves forward and that they recover from this and, you know, all the people are going to be all right.
Absolutely. Speaking of black women, we're going to have a conversation about Miss Shacarri. Shacarri.
Why you keep doing her like that?
Look.
I think a lot of people have been saying, I
I've
thought it
been
was Shacarri
saying
too.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sha'Carri.
Is it Shacarri?
It's Shacarri. That's what she said. Ain't
Okay.
that what she said?
I don't know.
Well, we need a publicist.
Shacarri.
She carry her bag.
What was 2 R's? So usually it's Kari. Well, okay, Shacarri. All right.
Where's she from?
Oak Cliff.
It's whatever her mama said
That's
it
my
is.
hood.
Yeah, whatever mama
Like,
said.
look at that boy.
However it's spelled is whatever her mama said it is.
Put some respect. I don't like disrespecting people's names. So if it's Shacarri, then we're gonna put some respect on the name. Shacarri Richardson.
She carry a 9.
Shacarri a 9. All right, so we're gonna have to try to get a little bit of background. All right. Shacarri Richardson
Who is she
was. Go ahead.
I said, who's she again? I'm just kidding. He looked at me. He looked at me.
Man, trying to get me caught up.
He paused like he didn't know for a second.
No. I'm just trying to think.
I feel like that's a valid question though, because she is someone that does not have a single medal. Not a single medal.
Okay, so we gonna get into it.
Damn.
So she was scheduled to compete for Olympic medals, but was disqualified or suspended because she tested positive for smoking weed. All of the well, I guess all the public, the majority of the public or us were kind of up in uproar because actually it was. I think it was pretty split, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was split. I'm gonna say it's split.
I wasn't in uproar at all.
It was split. It was split. There were some people that were supporting her because she had just lost her mother and she was grieving, and then there were other people that were disappointed because.
I have a question. What brought her to a point where her name was even elevated that people were concerned about whether she was making it to the Olympics or not?
Well, she was
because what it was really her hair and her nails.
Antics.
It was her antics.
Yeah,
exactly. It was that people looked at her and they maybe like Black America felt like they saw something.
They related.
Yeah,
I thought, didn't she
well, she was
her?
winning.
I thought when she qualified, didn't she like break some kind of record?
Yeah,
or something?
she had broken some
She
records.
had broke some
But
kind
she
of record
had
when
she had
qualified.
ran on a track that was windy that day also. So
Oh,
it
here we
was
go.
a wind assist. It was a wind
Not the
assisted run.
wind assist.
Oh,
I'm
here
just
we
saying.
go.
As a former track
No, but
runner,
I'm
that
saying,
helps.
No, I'm saying I feel like that's why and it was the hair and the nail, and she had broke a record to qualify.
Yeah, she was winning, and
What
the way
I
she
saw,
looked.
what I saw all over
what'd
the
you see?
internet
'Cause
was
we
a
can
lot
agree
of
on
her
this one,
hair
bro.
and nails. People were like, "Oh, she's being criticized because her flamboyant hair and her nails," and she's not the first person in track to do it.
No.
So it was like, okay, you guys really don't watch track, so that's why you're
Could be.
paying attention to this girl. Now, I had said, especially in Reverb, over and over again, Allison Felix, Allison Felix, Allison Felix. But I don't think a lot of people gave her the attention that she needed. I felt like she was overshined, and we should have been standing behind her when she's saying, hey, Nike did me wrong, and here's my shoes. Her shoes still haven't sold out. If y'all really love Black women, y'all really love track, go ahead, buy Allison Felix shoes.
Well, by
But
Alex and
Sha'Carri
Felix, when we got Sha'Carri out here.
Sha'Carri, right, exactly. Sha'Carri, her drama overshadowed because people love drama. The positive stuff that was going on.
Right.
Well, the media
But-
love
Yeah.
No.
and the media is good media. Like,
You feed into it, so don't just say it's just the media.
but we-
You feed into
The
that
media
shit.
is definitely going to mediate.
But we have to. But we
They gonna
have. But we have to be.
Propagandized.
But we have to be honest that if she was racing and was making 3rd, 4th, 5th place finishes and did not break a record, she wouldn't be in the news, right?
obviously.
So I mean, so we can't sit up here and just say that it was just the antics. It wasn't just the antics. The same way with Allen Iverson. If Allen Iverson wasn't a great basketball player or wasn't winning, his tattoos, the headbands wouldn't have mattered because he wouldn't have been in the media to be talked
How
about.
many
So I just
championships
think
did Allen Iverson get?
doesn't matter how many
I
championships.
mean,
Was he?
Carrying the same
Doesn't
person
matter.
up.
I get what you're saying. There is talent there.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that
This is
your
what I
that
have
your
to say.
production and your tolerance. That as long as you're producing, then people will tolerate it. And we saw that. The minute that you stop producing is the minute that your tolerance level drops.
But I told y'all from
Immediately.
jump, and people were so defensive of her when I was saying, like, look, y'all, she's not even the fastest American.
She's not.
No, and you were right. But I
She
think
was not
majority of
even
the
the
people
fastest
that had
American.
issue was with the decision and with how it was portrayed. Because right after that, then it was cannabis can be used for athletes, and it was a white.
Yep.
But this is my issue with that. See, people will talk about cannabis and they don't really understand cannabis.
Yeah, because ain't that CBD?
Because
Yeah, it is.
CBD,
It
if
is.
you look on the
is.
website, right, the World Anti-Doping Agency lists CBD as okay, but they say THC is not.
But it's the optics.
And I-
but it's the optics.
No. See, we agreed that we felt bad for her, but we also agreed that she should. There's rules.
That she'll be
in
accountable.
place.
No, that's what
No,
we
she-
came to the
she-
I'm an
conclusion.
avid
of.
user of marijuana. Guess what? I came here to talk to y'all. I came to defend my people.
I think,
So I didn't get high because I don't want to be on track.
no, but I think my stance was that I feel like it's something that should be revisited. I'm not saying like, oh, they should change
Exactly.
the rules so she could race now, but I feel
Right.
like at this point, weed is still demonized to me, where just to an unnecessary level, and I'm like, THC.
But it doesn't.
I think it should be.
But it doesn't
revisited at
matter.
this
It doesn't
point.
matter what we think or how we feel. The rules is the rules.
Yeah.
And until it's changed, then she was wrong.
I don't think anybody disagreed with that.
Right.
Nobody.
Right. I'm just saying. I don't want to have the weed argument.
And we got to
You know
think
what
of
I'm
it
saying?
like this: it's not even legal within our own federal government. So how are we expecting
what
a
I
world
said.
agency?
World level.
Exactly,
On a world, right.
and that's why I said until it's
man.
legalized on a federal level, I don't see that changing. But
Right.
I personally feel like it should be legal.
Right, and that was the other underlining
You don't even
conversation.
smoke, so I
the
don't
other
fuck with it.
the other underlining conversation was that marijuana use has been, black people have been punished more harshly for it than any other people. So that's the other thing that connected us with her, was that she was using it as a coping mechanism. Most other black people that are smoking it also do it as well, and the other alternative ways to deal or cope with pain or whatever have been addictive, with the opioid epidemic and whatever. So with white people, it was, oh, this is an epidemic, so we're going to treat it as such and not criminalize it. But with marijuana, it was, we're going to criminalize it and we're going to put people in prison and put people in jail for it. So that was there was a lot of underlining conversations, but the overall arching theme was
understand
that she had to be accountable for what she did, and she paid for it. And we all, I think majority of people
After
agree.
you pay the price, you should be.
And
able
most
to
of the
get
people
back to
agree
it.
with
Yeah.
it. But we also, I think that there was a lot of comments on the, I think when most people came to her defense was, it was again, harsh criticism. Oh, she's stupid and this and that. And why would she do that? And why would she let herself down? And blah, 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 blah. She's having to deal with the consequences. So we get it. But the bottom line is, again, I just talked about having empathy. And the empathy was
is
that
true,
she just
but-
lost her mom. And she said that she was willing. She even said it herself. Didn't she not? She said, I'm willing to deal with the consequences. I know what I did and I know what I need to do. So at that point, to me, end the conversation.
Okay, empathy. She's 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She has a team around her. Where are
We
the
just
people
talked about this.
who are supposed to be helping her stand in front of that camera and say the right things? Where are the people who are saying, okay, you just lost your mom. We know you're, like she said, my family dynamic is complicated. So the people closest to her know those things.
Facts.
Wouldn't they be around to say, like, hey,
Well,
girl,
remember we
now's
talked
not the
about-
time to smoke some
Yeah.
weed. You want some CBD gummies? I got you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
we
they
talked.
for sure
We talked
let her
about that.
down.
Remember, we talked about, like, if you go to NFL, you get a mentor. If you go to NBA, you get a mentor. If you go to NHL, they give you a mentor. They teach you how to talk to the media. They teach you how to maneuver. They
Because
teach
these
you.
is kids from the hood. That's the thing. Like, she's from
Exactly.
Oak Cliff, Dallas. Like, these are just kids from the hood that just happen to be talented enough to be in the public eye. So I'm like, I think sometimes we be forgetting that, even with like any celebrity. Like, these is
Yeah,
regular.
but the world
people.
doesn't give us grace for that. And so I think that as
even regular, we don't
Right.
give regular black youth or young
right,
people.
but on a
grace
world
at all.
stage, they're definitely not going to give us.
At all.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that being surrounded by all these medalists and people that she there were plenty of opportunities for someone to step up and say, "Hey, this is how we do it." And if they did, and she didn't receive it, then that's on her.
But
if they never
segue,
did- go ahead.
Allison Felix tried.
Well,
And was it received well?
supposedly, because, and we don't know because it's all alleged. Hopefully that what she said, because so I guess she was on what, Jimmy Kimmel, and it was with Stephen A. Smith, and was asked about her, and she said that she had a great personality and is bringing attention to the sport, and hope that she has the support that she needs. And then she got on her IG live and said encouraging words on TV shows are just as real as, well, nothing at all. And then the next quote was, be a good person, but don't waste time proving it. So we don't know what happened between them behind the scenes or whatever, but the same mentorship that we're saying that she should have gotten, I think that maybe that, from what I'm getting from what she said, and again, I don't know whether she did or not, seemed like to me that she's implying that she was saying positive words on the show, but maybe behind the scenes didn't try to reach out to her and try to mentor her or help her
So we're
through
gonna
that process.
we're gonna blame everybody else for her actions.
Who said that?
No, I think
That's
I think
basically-
we do
No.
that as a people too. Like, we said the same thing. Like, if you're not trying to help, if you're not trying to actually for real, like, don't speak on
Right.
me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like it's that defense mechanism where everybody on the internet is harshly criticizing her. So it's like, if you truly want to help me,
Mm-hmm.
then help me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But-
But don't
But
use
you have
me
to be
for an interview.
realistic. Also, you know what I mean?
Because would anybody have talked about her interview if she didn't speak on Sha'Carri?
Right.
So
Well,
I see where she's coming
But
from.
And-
you have to be realistic. She got her own stuff going on. Like, she's coming back from having a child. This is something in track that they say you cannot do. You cannot come back and win after you have a baby. That's what Nike told her. Her and Mommy Rocket proving that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
she got her own stuff going on, and I don't think it was wrong for her to segue and say, you know, I hope you're okay. Now
But-
the response was like
It don't
Fuck
have
you.
to be received though. Just because you
Yeah.
might have had good intentions, it's about how it's received too. So if
Yeah.
it
Hey,
wasn't
look,
received,
But I will
The
say
position is everything in that conversation. You don't have to receive it, but you're the one on the bad side of the position. You know what I mean? So you can be like, well, you didn't help, and you can be defensive, but now everybody's looking at you. It's too late.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to receive the help, but when the help comes and you need it, if you don't take it, then they're further.
I'm just saying I get why she's being defensive, being all the backlash. That
grace
she's
goes
taking.
both ways, right? Though we're saying we need to give her grace. She also needs to be gracious. You know,
yeah, and she received a lot of backlash for it, and I for one think that her response was unwarranted, because I think we have to think too that not everybody owes you help.
That's what I said. That's
So
what, that
it
was
might
my
have just
question.
been in support, but I think what we're also saying is that we're saying, well, where's the help? Where's the mentorship? Where's this? Where's that? Well, somebody that has, I think she has like 11 gold medals. That is, the height of the sport. You hold it with high esteem.
Mm-hmm.
That the people that have done it, if you do see a young person that is struggling a little bit, maybe, again, I can't tell people how to support or how to help, but what I'm saying is ideally helping behind the scenes would have been better received.
Right.
but
this is she has
what
to be
did you
receptive
just
to help.
say? But also, these people are not people that are like done and retired.
There's still
They all have
competition.
their own team,
Mhm.
and they're all actively training
Correct.
in a very busy schedule. Like, we can't expect the people who are actively competing to go out and be mentors to people.
Well, but it doesn't.
She has her own team. Her coach went to the Olympics.
Right, but you
That's
guys are
who should be
asking where is
mentoring her.
where is the
I'm
mentorship?
asking where is the mentorship from her team?
Right,
Her team is not, girl, you need a whole new different team.
right,
Right.
Your
But-
coach is failing you. Number one person that should be there is your coach. This person who has Olympic experience. This person who had their own doping scandal. So he should know how it feels. I'm just saying, you should know how it feels to
Apple
be
in the
that.
tree, huh?
True, but we're also putting ourselves in this place where, again, we just said, where's the mentorship, where's the help, right? So as a coach, you see them when they're running the track, when they go home, they're on their own. There is no, are you smoking weed today? Hey, are you okay? Are you over there?
Yo,
but like you can't be
real.
with it.
There's
You can't
not
be
coaches that are up in people's
not 24/7.
Shit.
If I wanted to go dark from this podcast, I just don't answer my phone,
But we'll pop up at your house.
and I wouldn't answer the door.
I would pop
But
up.
after that, it's already
This
done.
is the Olympics.
At the end
You
of
know
the
what I
day,
mean? He could,
at the
Sha'Carri,
at the
girl,
end
I
of
got
the
the CBD gummies for you. That's what he should have been doing. I know you're going through some stuff.
but now we're saying, so first we're saying hold her accountable, but now we're saying that the coach should have been up her ass to make sure that she wasn't taking
Yeah,
smoking
because it's a
She's
team
21.
effort.
Yeah.
She has
It's
to
a
hold herself
team.
accountable, and the coach also
She's
needs to. That's the whole.
21.
It's a whole program.
at 21, where any of us listening into what most older people were telling us.
Listen,
hell no.
Listen, but see, we're
Like
making
you're
it. We're
saying,
making
it's a
we're making
program.
it.
She has a
We're making
coach.
excuses
for the coach,
We're-
not for her.
Yeah, she says. Yeah, there's no. You're 21. You make your own decisions.
Right.
But if the coach isn't on that situation, and you understand that she's 21, so if you're training a 21-year-old, then you're like you said, you understand
He
that
has a
she's
family.
21.
He has responsibilities. He has things too.
I'm not absolving anyone from responsibility. They're all responsible for her.
Man.
But we're saying the
Everybody.
coach should have been living with her, basically.
I'm just saying that I'm saying, but like to Steph's
If
point,
that's what it requires,
A coach,
I'm just saying because
get a
look,
gold medal out here.
look, there's been Russians out here breaking kneecaps for gold medals. You know, like
I'm not gonna.
I'm just saying.
Look,
I'm not expecting my
I'm just
coach to
saying.
live with me to make sure that I make good
Figure
life
skating
decisions.
It ain't about
That's what I'm saying. They taking each other out.
Christy Yamaguchi and
Right. They out
hey,
here.
figure skating. That's my
Okay,
shit.
so you know what I'm saying? People, it's the Olympics. People is taking it to the extremes in other places. If you know, if I'm an Olympic coach and my little girl right here, Sha'Carri, she going through some stuff. I know as
But that would
you
take
as a
somebody to
coach,
share it.
but I'm just saying, anybody that's ever played sports,
Mhm.
I played soccer for years.
Mhm.
Your coaches know you. They usually know what's going on. They know your family dynamic.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those are really your mentors that if something's wrong, they're going to talk to you about it.
Sure.
And I feel like that's where she was really failed.
I see both sides because my husband is a coach, and at the end of the day, like you said, when them kids go home,
he can't
He
can't
can't,
coach no more.
and he's not
like, and
responsible.
he always says like, I only have them for this many hours
Facts.
a week. You feel what I'm saying? It's only so much that I could do. You
Right.
know what I mean?
That is
So
primarily
it's-
football.
It's like it's I get it, but and he coaches kids. She grown,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So it's different when you're coaching kids and you're trying to make sure they staying on track.
Exactly.
You still a grown woman to some extent.
You still
So,
got to be accountable for your goddamn
definitely.
self.
Yeah.
But my thing is, people just was so quick to want to throw her away. Like when we start making mistakes, when we start fucking up,
When she,
it's like
when
up
she
bye.
took, what you talking about? When
you're
she took
gone.
ninth place?
But that's what I'm
Even
saying.
that
See, but this is what happened. Okay, people, so even though I felt like she was accountable for, she should take responsibility, and when she apologized and she said it, I was done with it.
Mhm.
Right. So that's where that stopped. So
Mhm.
now you've had you've had your flaw. You lost an immense opportunity for your life, a life changing event. Okay, so the time and the crime is already served.
Facts.
Right. So now when you come back, we expect you to come back hungry as fuck. We expect you to come back and show everybody all the shit you were supposed to do in the Olympics. And I think that's what made people upset, is because everybody jumped back on the train. I don't think anybody was rooting against her.
Also, now she came through, bitches. You better be
She
ready
wasn't
and all
humble
that.
at
Like
all.
she's not humble at all. She came through confident that she was gonna
she should.
tear
as
up.
She should.
tear it up.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta realize you're racing against people who have 0 medals. They got 11.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you came through talking that big shit with nothing to back it up.
And I think
Like-
that's what happened to that. I think that's when the tides turned for her, because we want anytime, you know how it goes.
Tolerance and performance.
Exactly. You already know, like when somebody's showboating and talking the mess, talking the most. When Conor McGregor got knocked out the first time, the world went crazy.
You got to back it up.
Okay, that's exactly the exact example I've been
Yeah.
using. I'm like, look
Yeah.
at McGregor.
Yeah.
Look at, Mayweather.
Yeah.
People can't stand Mayweather. Why? Because he talk a bunch of shit.
Yep.
McGregor. Everyone wanted to see him get his ass whooped because he talk a bunch
People
of
are
shit.
waiting for Floyd to get knocked out right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Even if we liked him at one point.
No, and that, yeah.
Not me. Not me.
Talking about who, Floyd?
I don't want him to get knocked out either, but still, there's people right now that are like, okay, Floyd, you're not even going for the knockout anymore. Somebody should just knock him
Man.
out and make him retire. There's people get if you gas, especially after you come from a situation where you let us all down the first time and then you take dead last.
Yeah. So,
Letting us down,
And then
she let
there's a
herself down.
cultural
Like, people
difference,
gotta look
though,
at that,
too.
well, I think that's okay. So
She
that's
lost 8
the
times in one race.
that's the
Shut up. She did. She lost 8 times in one race.
Oh, my
There's a
God.
cultural difference too, because what I see a lot of people upset is like, why are they trying to humble her? But we're coming from a country where we have
Well,
like
we win.
where not only where we win, but you didn't see none of our runners making TikTok videos or nothing like that, because one thing we do pride ourselves on is being humble, being irie, right? That's the saying, Jamaica irie, right? Having a cool vibe, being chill. We have these old
What happened to Roz
sayings
then? See, where that lesson get in?
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I'm tired of it.
we be cocky sometimes too. But for people like him, we got these sayings like Sha'Carri,
Mm-hmm. But
Guess
you
what?
know what Raj is doing that Sha'Carri didn't do?
Backing it up
Every
All
day.
Okay, but we got these sayings, right? The humble calf suck the most milk,
Facts.
right? We have these sayings.
Mm-hmm.
Empty barrel make the most noise. They're repeated to children. These Jamaican proverbs. They're in our music, right? Action, not a bag of mouth. We don't want to hear a whole bunch of back chat. Do what you're supposed to do.
They waited till after the
So-
race to be like this, all in the camera shot.
And she just walked by. You know what I mean? Like she was supposed to. Didn't say nothing. And even her interview, they're trying to make the Jamaicans say something wrong. Like, but it was still humble. You know, every time I come out here, I run to do my best. They say, "Oh, should we have expected anything different?" 1, 2, 3. She kind of smiled. No, you shouldn't have. Which you shouldn't have. You know, I'm honestly, as someone who pays attention to track, because like I said, Jamaica, track is what we do.
That's
Like
life.
for
That's life.
track in Jamaica is like football in Texas. You know what I mean? Parents show up to the elementary school on parent day and race each other. Like this is what we do. So
That's Grant Pacer life.
right.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's track is life.
Right.
So, me watching this, I'm thinking like, I honestly thought she might take 4th, maybe 3rd. The girl kind of fast. She might get 3rd. I did not expect 9th.
Right.
That was like, whoa.
Well, she shouldn't have been racing. Period.
That was like, come on.
She
now.
wasn't mentally there.
For you. We were all rooting for you. and you know what? I'm still rooting for
You're
her.
so fucking
Like,
petty.
no, I'm just
I
saying.
can't do
I'm
it.
rooting
Even
for her,
after
too.
that,
I
I
wanted
was
to
rooting
root-
for her until she got too disrespectful.
So okay, so
she got too disrespectful.
can we get to that? So that's where to me that's where it turned.
I never want the
That's
Jamaicans
where it
to lose,
turned.
though,
Because
so
I think
whatever.
after she lost, I think we were still like, you know what? What I thought was, you're still grieving. You probably wasn't training the way you were supposed to. You showed up. You thought you was going to just get on there and be okay. And I think you need to take some time. Where it turned was the interview after was basically saying, oh, if y'all want to keep talking shit, go ahead and talk shit and make fun of me, blah, blah, blah. But then when Black Twitter uncovered that she liked tweets that were disrespectful to Jamaicans. And I think that's where everybody was like, oh, okay, hold on. We need to pump the brakes because now you taking it to another level. Because for the majority of us,
She ain't taking it to another level. She's exposing a level that's already
been there. Okay.
This ain't nothing new.
What I'm saying is that the exposure of it is what took it to another level.
She did the most
So-
American thing possible because, as we were speaking about earlier,
So hold on, I'm gonna read the tweet. So the tweet
Read
that
it.
she liked said, not y'all Jamaicans still talking shit when y'all gotta walk barefoot to your coconut stand every day for
See,
a
I
living.
don't like that. I don't like that kind of energy.
And it's
what
it's
was
all
the other
visible.
tweet that she liked? Everyone talking about stand behind her because she's a black woman, but she's over here liking the tweet with Shelly Ann talking about Shelly Ann looks like Lil Wayne. Like, come on, girl.
Yeah. So that
I don't know. I'm not laying in bed at night like, please, God, make me wake up looking like Sha'Carri tomorrow.
Right.
Like, come on, baby.
I think the majority of us, I ain't gonna say we, I'll say me, but I'll say everybody in the nation, we say that we root for everybody black. So if it wasn't her, if it wasn't the Jamaicans, if it wasn't whoever wins
But
is
do the majority of the people really root for everybody
Yes, okay.
black?
Yes.
This is what I'm gonna
Because
tell you.
there's a movement.
But
I
we,
don't
Two
think so.
movements
But
within
we
the black
don't-
community, right?
we
ADOS,
don't- but we don't watch
and
the Olympics,
foundational black
I
Americans.
don't think that everybody roots for everybody
No,
black.
they don't, because I don't think people
I didn't say
even-
everybody.
I don't even
That's what
think,
you said I speak for me.
Yeah, and then
He
I
did
said
clarify.
yes.
Clarify.
because a lot of
Clarified
people
butter.
are trying to, when this first popped off, even before the Olympics, right? It started a Jamaican versus, like Caribbean Twitter versus Black American Twitter. But what do y'all call yourselves? Black Twitter. Like, I think a lot of, like you said, because U.S. history is taught in the United States, and we barely even teach the correct U.S. history. We're not teaching world history.
Correct.
And what I found with my experience on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is that a lot of Black Americans don't really know, like,
Where they're from.
Not just where they're from, but the history of the diaspora. So they don't realize, like someone tried to say, oh, y'all want to be part of our struggle so bad in reference to slavery. Like, girl, do you know that only less than 1% of the slaves that came across, stolen from Africa and brought over on the transatlantic slave trade came to the United States?
Right.
We all dropped out Jamaican, Haiti.
Exactly. The majority of black people outside of the United States or outside of Africa, the highest population is
Caribbean.
Brazil.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Brazil
Yeah.
has the highest population of black people. So we need to stop and look at that. You know what I mean? Because
they produce amazing athletes too out of Brazil.
Well, I think it's
Especially
because
soccer.
we only speak
Soccer,
for Black Americans.
UFC.
When we talk about black, we're talking about Black Americans, and I think that's where the divide comes in, because people assume when somebody says you're not black, that they're saying that you're not black as a whole, but what they're saying is you're not a Black American, which you're not.
Right,
So
but look,
hold
But
on.
I
So
think
let
there
me-
is some
so-
division
so-
when you can come from Africans. And
Let me
look
let's
down.
there's
get
diversity in
let's-
blackness, right? Just like there's diversity in
Absolutely.
whiteness.
But we
Hold
have
on.
to-
A
you have to
European could be
acknowledge
French.
Black Americans, though.
Yeah.
Because Black Americans, we don't have, like everybody else, you're Jamaican, you're Nigerian. We don't have that. You feel what I'm saying? So our classification, most of us, we don't really go by African American. I'm Black.
and we have a different experience.
Exactly.
Every
So-
black person has a
and
different
so
experience. Yeah.
all we have is Black. That's it. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's where the divide comes in, because people think that you're saying, oh, you ain't Black. No, we just saying you're not a Black American, and it's a different experience. It is.
So okay, so let's get to the crux of the conversation, because we're kind of tap dancing around it, and we just need to just get to the crux of it, and we're gonna go around the room.
internal racism.
That's
Man, that
So
is what it is.
do we think? And I'm not saying you personally, because we already know that personal and group is going to be different answers. Do you think that as a group, that African Americans or blacks, do we treat other Africans on the diaspora differently in a negative way?
You asking as a group or individually?
No, I'm not saying you as an individual.
Okay.
Now,
I'm saying as a culture, as a community, as a society.
I have a question
we-
for your question.
Okay, hold on. Can we get that
Let's get
question
the yes or
answered
no
first?
Nah, but this is going to be the answer. What are the things that when you think of Africa, what are the things that automatically come to your mind? I took a history of African civilizations
going.
class, right? And the teacher asked this, and it's a group of pretty much, there's only like one kid that was white in the class. So it's black people. The first thing that was yelled out was, they don't like us, by like this 19-year-old little black boy. They don't like us. And the teacher was like, what? He was like, yeah, they don't like us. And then people start saying like, oh, you know, it's like ghetto. They're all poor. They live in huts. And me and this other girl sitting like next to each other. She's Kenyan, I'm Jamaican. We're just like, okay, that's what it is. Like,
They don't like mutton.
right, man. And they be trying to clown with that too. Like, y'all barefoot, you eat goats.
Well, I mean,
I didn't
and
even know that mutton was goat.
I'm like, first of all,
that's what that tweet was
first
saying.
of all, I like the feeling of the land that my grandpa worked on a banana boat. Call me a banana boat Negro all you want. My grandpa worked
right.
hard to buy 5 acres. So if I want to put my barefoot feet on it, I'm gonna do it.
Okay,
But-
so what's the question again?
So the question is do African Americans treat other Africans that are not from America negatively that are on the diaspora? Is there an oppressive prejudice? You guys will get what I'm saying.
I'm gonna say yes.
because there's an ignorance there.
Yeah,
And a lack of
absolutely.
But I would say that ignorance comes from, now, Jamaica gave y'all one of our finest, our national heroes, Marcus Garvey, right? He came here and he started the UNIA. He's telling you, you need to unite. Desegregation is bad. I'm not a Garveyist, so I don't agree with everything he said, but I did grow up Rasta, and the foundation of the Rastafarian movement is Black supremacy and Marcus Garvey's teachings, right? So Marcus Garvey really believed that Black people have to separate. That in order to be successful, we have to come together and work together. And when he said Black people, he was talking about the whole diaspora,
Everybody,
right?
yeah.
He created this flag, the red, black and green flag. Right now, that flag has been co-opted and it got stars in the corner. It's the African American flag. So what does that mean? Y'all don't want to be together with all of us. Y'all want to be by yourselves. And these movements, the
ADOS
and the Foundational Black Americans, FBA, these really are MAGA and blackface. Let's keep it real. They use white supremacist talking points, essentially, to further their agenda, which doesn't make any sense because end of the day, if y'all want reparations, guess what? The United States.
So does Jamaica and so does Haiti.
Right, but the United States is never going to give Black America reparations and set a precedent for reparations without their allies, which are other European NATO countries who are also
all those people who are oppressed,
who
all
also
the Haiti,
had
Haitians,
slaves,
yep.
agreeing to doing
especially
it.
French.
So
the French.
why is it if it's an issue where a lot of Black Americans will say we don't like you? Why is it that our group, CARICOM, which is the entire Caribbean, led by Jamaica, if you go on their website right now, they're saying, hey, we support African and Americans and the U.S. needs to give reparations. You can't go on any ADOS site or FBA site and see you need to give reparations to the Caribbean. So I don't feel like
reparations to start in the Caribbean.
And I don't feel that like how people sometimes say like, oh, you guys are raised not to like us. Your parents say don't. That's not my experience at all. Like I grew up in Humboldt County, where it's like you're a ganja farmer or you're like a logger. And I moved to San Francisco when I was like 9 and I was hyped because I'm like, yes, I'm going to be around like my people. Now being half white, it was my mom that dropped me off, to school for like the first week. Everything was cool because, kids like, whatever, she's half Black. When my dad came, this is the 90s, so dreadlocks was not cool in the Bay. My dad comes, he's a Rasta, dreadlocks down to like his ankles. Girl, it was an issue. They were like, what is that? Shaba. Reverend, this is Shaba ranks. And I'll tell you, my little sister used to get her dreads pulled. I used to get in fights every day. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, because these supposed to be my people. What you mean you not Black? Like, my dad told me, if people don't give you your respect, you take it. So that's been my attitude all my life. Like, I swear, my mom, my mom white. She'd be like, I'm embarrassed. I work. My mom white. She's like, I'm embarrassed. I work in mental health and my kids, I'm getting calls like, come get your kid. Right?
Because they don't have no self-control.
Go ahead, Raj.
I feel like there's a psychological segregation. I do feel like, especially like you hear a lot. You don't so much hear. I think Jamaicans and Haitians, we kind of get celebrated a little bit differently than like someone who's from Nigeria or Ghana or the Congo. You know what I mean? Most of now, you're Jamaican, you're the cool guy. Yeah. Let me hear you talking patois. Or whatever. You pop up a Jamaican restaurant, everybody, their goddamn mom is in there. You know what I'm saying? Niggas want me to make oxtails all the time. But facts. But you know what I'm saying? But I do think there's a segregation when it comes to like Africans or it comes to from those African countries when they come here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I will say that American people do think that they're better than
with some kind of privilege.
For sure.
But I still believe it's grounded in what you're taught in elementary and high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also think it's like Steph said, it's ignorance mostly.
Yeah.
Right?
I
because
think
the cultural difference and the accent throws you off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you start to categorize this person.
Well, and what I believe I totally agree.
Yeah, pretty much everything what everybody's saying is exactly what I was going to say. It's literally ignorance. A lot of us weren't raised to see the truth of Africa. We always see what we see on TV and what they want to put in the books. You know what I mean? 25 cents a day feeds his kid and shit, but they're not telling you what part of that is. that shit looks like Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm so done with
Does it look like that? Right? Like, I remember they were showing like a city and shit. That was like, oh, what do you think this is in Africa? It's not. It's a city in America.
I
So
swear to
don't just think
God.
that it's the same thing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of wealth out there. You know what I mean? They're not going to tell us that for whatever reason. We all know the reason. And shit.
If there wasn't wealth, then why all the white people they're taking it, right? There gotta be a
Because
reason.
if you go to Jamaica or whatever, all the resorts are United States owned. They're American owned.
Right.
If you go to Haiti, they're all French owned.
And that's another thing that will segue on to the resorts.
I feel like I have to say yes. Like growing up, my best friend was Nigerian, so I already know the differences in how she was treated and just how like I was treated because people thought I was Nigerian too, and I'm like, I'm regular black, like I don't, you know what I'm saying? But my best friend was Nigerian, and it's just like, oh, you know, y'all be over there eating goat, eating with your hands, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just the cultural difference of not understanding, you know what I'm saying, that there's different cultures everywhere, but we all still black.
And we all should be
But
celebrating.
isn't that hella American? Because guess what? The majority of the world eating with their hands.
That's
so,
facts.
Yeah.
Well,
But
But I'm just saying, like those type of jokes.
but that's what
and
I'm
that
saying.
not
Those jokes are
understanding-
grounded in
Internal racism.
and white supremacy, and I don't think black people really realize it. That these narratives that you see, like National Geographic apologized a couple years ago, and on their Facebook page, they're like, "We apologize for the racist depictions that we showed of Africa." White America was like, "No, you don't."
I think that Garvey was almost spot on when he's like the integration of culture and to begin to depend on white America is really what keeps the racism or the divide.
Yeah.
Right. Because you can be African American on welfare and you can still live in the United States.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we have to realize too that you know, because I've always looked at that question, you know, tenfold, because I do believe that we do feel like we do have some type of privilege. That when you're at the bottom, that the very first thing that you look for
Somebody
is
lower.
who was better. Who am I better than? Can I at least be better than somebody? You know what I mean? So when immigrants or people that come from different countries come here, we're like, well, damn, like at least I was born here. At least I have, you know, you don't think that like cognitively, but subconsciously is like, well, at least I'm a little bit better than you. Like I'm a little bit higher on the totem pole than you. But I also do think that it does, and I'm not saying all the time. I think the majority of Africans that I've met that have come from Africa have been accepting, have been, you know, they see us as the same, like they were brothers, that we are welcome. And they've even told me, you guys are welcome to come back. And I think that's what you were saying, that it's always like, oh, we don't like you. And it's like, no, we accept you to come back.
When you
Ghana had 100 years.
But I have encountered some Africans that will not fuck with us at all because they don't want any culture intermingling. And they've also said, I don't want, like this guy I talked to, he said, I don't let my African wife hang out with no African American women because I don't want her to be bombarded with all these Americanized cultures and ideas. So he said that we are better. Hold on. So he's told me that he purposely keeps her separated from us because he does not want her to act
Western,
like what he thinks
ideas.
African American women are.
Westernization. It's not. See, y'all take it
No,
as like it's us, like
no,
black women specifically.
No. I'm saying what he told me specifically. He does not want his wife hanging out with African American women.
You say white women.
Yeah, but this,
Now, maybe on a grander scale, yeah, maybe I would agree that it's westernized.
It's westernized ideas.
Westernized
Right.
ideas, really. It's really that, all right, for me, I grew up feeling like, damn, you know, my little brother would be like, can't we just have some pizza or something?
Yeah.
And I used to be mad,
Pizza's
like, we
on
gotta
mama.
have curry goat, like,
Yeah.
I want some mac and cheese. I remember I was like 17 first time I had like banana pudding at somebody's
Because it's all
house, and I was
homegrown.
hyped, like, oh, let me get some of this banana pudding. Because black people been hyping this up forever. I gotta try that, and I was disappointed.
It's trash.
Because it's trash.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. That banana pudding cheesecake is my number one seller by
never
far.
try it.
Bourbon spiced.
Okay.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, that's
But-
just flying off the show.
We were all really
Thank you.
But the point is, like, My dad was very much, and like my husband's uncle, we grew up together. We call him Uncle Sid too. One time he explained this to me, like, look, we're leaving our country, we're leaving our families, we're leaving everything behind. And when we come here and you say, oh, I want pizza, and you screw up your face and you say, I don't want that curry, it hurts our feelings.
No, I got you.
And I remember that from a little kid, because they're saying, you know, we want you to hold strong to that.
You want to preserve
And my
your culture.
dad was like, Jamaican. He never became a
Totally
U.S.
get it.
citizen. He always had his green card. Like, home is
Totally
Got
get
that,
it.
does he have
Jamaica.
that deep raspy
Totally
voice
get
now?
it.
It's not
But
bad.
but you can't say that. But then also say, well, why are you guys only fighting for American for your?
because there's still a divide. There.
No. But
you can, right? Because guess what? We have NATO, right? We have French allies as the United States, but we went to in 2002 into a war, and we said our president decided we're not going to serve French fries at the White House. They got to be freedom fries because France said something bad about.
But I think that's different. I think that's different
freedom
though.
fries.
I
You
think
gotta
that's
know
different.
you have alliances sometimes, and we're aligned under our common interests.
I totally
but
get that.
doesn't mean that we have to be best friends. England sunk the French Navy during World War II. Killed a bunch of French sailors on their ships.
Totally get it.
Because we didn't want the Nazis to cross the English Channel.
Right.
Sometimes you are not the best of friends, but you're still allies.
No. And I'm not saying not to be allies. What I'm saying is the same way that we say this, that we say when we're talking about civil rights, or we're talking about these issues that we're fighting as black people. Then you'll get people that will say, like Asians, oh, well, stop Asian hate. Look, we working on getting our shit straight first.
Right.
And then once again, when black people are liberated, all people should be liberated. So what I'm saying is, as a black man in America, and I'm not saying that as a black American, the issues that I'm dealing with in America, I need to resolve these things first before then we can then start working on, because usually how America goes, the world goes. So if we get reparations, I would think that will make a stronger case. And I don't agree with their ideology. Let me just say that. But if America paid reparations, I would think that would kick the ball down the road to say,
But
okay.
will America do it and white America, because that's who leads this country. This is a country that's founded by white people and run by white people. Will they do that knowing that these other white countries throughout Europe, who are our allies, are going to have to do the same thing? Because like you said, once we do it, they got to do it too. So unless those other countries agree, it's not going to happen.
It's a group deal, bro.
No, it's not. No, I don't think it has to be a group deal,
I think
because
so.
it'll be the same thing. So if France
On
did
a
it,
politic level,
politically, it's got to be.
no, but what
it
I'm
is.
saying is, if France did it, then that would put
all right,
pressure on us to do
we're
it.
talking about civil
Absolutely.
rights.
Because we
So then, how does it not work in? How does it not work in reverse?
Because our commerce work together, bro.
We're talking about civil rights, right? Now, this is something that I keep hearing on the internet with this like Sha'Carri stuff and us going back and forth, the two groups with each other,
Sure.
right? You guys wouldn't be able to come here if it wasn't for us, because our civil rights movement made it so you guys could even come here. Now, this is something that I want y'all to look at. Martin Luther King, who did he frame his whole ideology behind? Mahatma Gandhi. So there was not, I know here we know U.S. history, we don't know world history. The civil rights movement was not just happening within the United States. There was a worldwide movement. Remember what they used to say: the sun never sets on the British Empire. So in Egypt, they were going up. Guess what? You're no longer the Queen of Egypt. In Jamaica, we took down 1962, took down the flag of England and raised our own flag.
Same thing in Haiti. We got the French out of there.
Everywhere throughout the world, this is going on. So when the Civil Rights Act was passed in the United States in 1964, was this something that was passed by a vote by the American people? No, it was not. It was Congress. It was the people who work and deal with other countries, our government, that said, hey, it's going up everywhere. We got to give the rights to the black people like the rest of the world is doing. So yes, it does go both ways. If France and other countries did it, then the U.S. would have to do it too.
It'll be
But
pressure.
It's a group deal.
It'll
It
be
is.
pressure.
It's a group
It'll
deal
be-
everywhere. Because look, baby, how did slavery end?
It'll be
Slavery ended in the United States because the British ended slavery in the Caribbean, and the U.S. couldn't even get no more slaves from the Gold Coast because England ran the Gold Coast.
Yeah, but that,
So what happens if one country sets that precedent where they're saying, "Hey, we're not doing this no more."
right, but that's what I said.
It puts the pressure, but the U.S. is rarely. We're talking about, right? I just gave you examples from slavery, civil rights. Never has the U.S. been the first one to do it. So all of a sudden now y'all think the U.S. is going to be the first one to be like, give them Negroes some reparations.
But
that is
again,
not happening.
okay. But for you to think that it'll happen in France or happen anywhere else there first, and then happen in the
You
U.S.,
know why I think it will happen in France first? Why they have a better chance? Because if you look at Paris every other couple months, Paris is on fire.
Facts.
Them Africans is tearing shit up.
right.
Facts.
Like Paris is way more open, France in
And then they
general
got all
to
the
protesting.
and then they got the group thing, pray for Paris, when they don't
Right.
even know why Paris is going on.
They be going up.
Right, but we're also
But I'm
talking
just saying,
about
I
most
think-
African countries that they are still. I mean, just recently they stopped paying to them just recently, and
Yeah.
now you have China coming in. So again,
see, that's an issue I have too, because Americans love to say, "But China."
No,
now
no,
look,
hold on.
There's
Hold-
three
hold on.
world powers that are really right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Soviet Russia, China, and the U.S. that are fighting for power.
Okay,
The U.S. does not make good trade deals. The U.S. practice not colonialism, right? Because we were a colony. What we practice is neocolonialism, which is actually worse.
Okay.
Because in colonialism, they're establishing a colony. They have to send their people there. They have to give you something. They have to build up that area. Where in neocolonialism, all you're doing is taking as much as you can get and getting the fuck out.
sure.
So that's what the U.S. practices. Now, why, when people say, "Oh, you got China in your country," why would we want the U.S. in our country?
That's not making my.
But I'm
that's
saying
not,
it's you. You're saying China. China is
No.
actually making better deals for undeveloped nations.
No, but he's talking.
but they're
about
not in control of their own resources. What I'm saying is that
Africa
that
is
Africa
giving control of
is
resources to
because
China.
Yeah, so
they
what I-
have
what-
to make some sort of that
No,
is
they
what
don't-
I'm saying.
no, they
there
don't
has
have
to be
to.
some sort of deal with world superpowers. Who
Right.
you think the U.S. is
But
going to make some good deal
is it
with them?
benefiting China more or is it benefiting?
It's always going to benefit the
So what I'm
superpower
saying, okay,
more.
so then what I'm saying is that they're fighting their own individual battles with who that they are dealing with right now.
So you're
in
saying-
America,
I get it.
in America,
We're fighting-
African Americans,
we're
we are
fighting the
not dealing with that.
Americans.
So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that their progress and their liberation and them fighting for any kind of residual income that they're going to get back, they are way past or in the we're way more advanced in our fight for liberation and for freedom
Pause.
than they are right
Rewind
now.
That. Say that again. We're way more advanced. I feel like that is coming from a place where it's still of superiority.
No.
Because I don't think, like I said, we have government entities. That
I'm talking about
do more than one thing at a time.
absolutely.
right?
You can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Congress has a whole set of issues set in front of them that they address. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a bill that might come for civil rights. There might be a bill for the environment.
Let me ask you this.
A bill for
Let me
that.
ask you
I don't
this.
think it's,
Let me ask you this. Do any of those countries that you're talking about have anything that they are working on currently for reparations?
Do they have? Yes, the Jamaica has CARICOM, which is
We're
the
talking about
Caribbean.
okay.
Africa does have their own group where they're demanding.
No, I'm talking about is the governments that owe them money, are they working on any legislation or working toward any studies to pay them reparations?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so then we're more advanced in our fight for liberation and for
But that's
reparations.
because it's not who brought those bills up.
The government, Congress, the
Who
California's
in
working
government
on.
and Congress?
So now you're okay.
It's not
the
white
argument,
Congress.
the argument is okay.
It's-
but what I'm
it's
saying is
black
that we're
Congress.
more advanced.
No,
we're
what
further along.
What you're saying is you have people in positions of power in Black Congress that can bring it up.
So that would make us further along.
So and
in the fight.
so if you're further
Right, now
along in the fight. So then be the world leader, right? That you're supposed to
that's what
be.
we're trying to do. It has to start somewhere. All I'm saying is that it has to start somewhere. So if you're going to start somewhere, start home.
Start where you furthest along, I would say.
Yeah, that's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying, yes, should we as a global entity work for liberation and reparation for all black people? Absolutely. Do I want Jamaicans to get their just due? Hell
and
yeah.
What I'm saying
Haiti?
is,
hell yeah.
You could have your same program saying, hey, this
and
is...
and help other people.
All you have to do, it's not even helping other people. It's not like they're asking for your senators to come and fucking talk.
Allyship and support. I got what you're saying.
It is just like Jamaica and CARICOM is saying, we have this coalition for reparations and we agree with the United States. It just has to be a statement that this is what we're standing on.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
Miss Maxine Waters just make the statement. This is what we're standing on. We want reparations, not just for slavery, but like you said, if that's what we're going to stand on, for what happened with King Leopold in the Congo.
Right. But as members in Congress,
right,
their alliance is to the American people.
Always.
First.
And that's what they work on actively.
Right.
That's
right. So that's what I'm saying.
A statement is a simple
thing. So I think
make.
once that ball gets rolling, if it does, may not.
Because guess what? That's all politics really is.
Exactly.
It's just this is what I'm saying, this is my statement, and this is what I'm rallying people behind. So you say, hey, this is what we're doing.
Right.
And this is our agenda and we're passing this. And by the way, we also believe that this needs to happen. Yeah. And just the fact that you say it puts it out, especially as a world leader, that this is what we believe in and this is what we're standing on.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. I think that was a good point. I agree with that.
So are they racist or no?
We live in a racist country. Let's keep it real. That's
a racist world.
A racist world, but the United States is very much like founded in that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is unique in some ways because in the world there is that like hierarchy based on like skin tone because it's seen all over
based on performance.
But like even in Asia, right? Because they'll say, oh, the Southern Chinese, they're like pig farmers, and the reason why you can tell the difference is they're darker because not only do they live in South, but they're like farm workers.
Out in the sun,
they've been out in the sun.
Yeah.
So that's wherever. But in the United States, it's very like divided based on who you are.
Race,
and you don't really see that social
gender.
Stratification in other countries like you do the United States.
And we're the only people that were born in a country that we were once descendants of slaves that had to fight for. Obviously, there's slavery all over the place,
but you're not. Everybody's.
We were brought.
The entire Caribbean's born in a country where they were descendants of slaves.
But you have people that were born in Jamaica that were original, right? They were original Jamaicans that were there, that were born and raised, that there's always been Jamaicans there.
No.
None of the people that were in Jamaica
who
are original. No, I'm not.
Are the original inhabitants of Jamaica are the Arawak Indians that were decimated by Christopher Columbus?
Okay, but I'm not. I'm not telling you. I'm asking. It was a question.
No, I'm telling you. That's the
so there's no original inhabitants that from Jamaica.
The original inhabitants of Jamaica are a group of Arawakan Indians, which means they came from South America, from the Amazon basin, and they came up through the Lesser Antilles to the Greater Antilles.
Sure.
Jamaica is the first colony in the New World. Spain has us on like their heritage site, like we're a UNESCO heritage site because we are the first colony in the New World.
Gotcha.
Christopher Columbus enslaved these people. They got sick. They pretty much all died off. There's very small numbers of them in Jamaica. There's more Taino in places like Puerto Rico.
But there's still people that were.
There's nobody that's like. There's no Jamaican that's 100% Taino. There's Jamaicans that might have Taino blood in them because what happened was we had also the first slave rebellion in the New World. And that's the maroon people that are Jamaicans. Those are Africans who were brought from Africa to be slaves that rebelled and killed enough British that they decided, hey, we're going to leave y'all alone and let you stay in the mountains. And they basically are like Native Americans. The Maroons in Jamaica are not Jamaican. They are actually considered their own sovereign nation because of the treaty that they signed with the British. But they're not like native to the country. They're Africans.
Right.
But some of them did mix up in the hills with those
With the
last
original.
remaining.
What you're meaning?
Got it.
What you're meaning in total is cultural disposition, right? Because we're here hearing none of the culture that came from where we. I understand.
Yeah.
I get what
We
you're
don't-
saying. We have a disconnect. We don't
Yeah.
have.
We don't have. We're not.
The reason
culture.
why that's important is because a lot of people believe what you said, like that Black Jamaicans are like from Jamaica, and they don't necessarily understand that. No, we are all ancestors of slaves. Like,
No, all right. Yeah. No, yeah. That I think that's an important point to make, and thank you for correcting me on that, because I think when we talk about how we view people or look at people, the ignorance part is one of them. So that's good information to know. I think what Steph was just saying, what you were just saying, culturally, I think that's where we need to find a difference.
Yeah,
that
but-
culturally African Americans don't. We are the only people that have. And I'm not saying only, but what I'm saying is Jamaicans, they have their own culture to themselves, which they've had
but
to.
there's a reason why, because we had to cultivate it the same way y'all got to cultivate it. But this is the difference. Now, if anyone's interested in learning about Jamaica or just slavery in the Caribbean,
Sure.
there's lots of books you can read. There's book of I think it's called The Midnight Woman. I was listening to it and I thought it was really interesting. They talked about the different tribes of Africans that would be taken, the different groups. And in Jamaica, we had a large part of the Coromantee. They brought them to the island specifically because Coromantee warriors from Ghana were the ones that were the most aggressive. That's who is the population of the Maroon people who fought the British and defeated them, were Coromantee. So it's more like in this book, they're talking about, oh, she's Igbo, she's probably going to commit suicide. And when you hear about our ancestors that threw themselves over the boat, it's usually what they're talking about is the references to these Igbo people. Or I don't know if you ever heard the story of the people that could fly. It's like the same thing. Right there off Savannah, like more a little north, coastal Georgia and coastal South Carolina, there's the Gullah people, and they're like the Maroons. They're Africans that escaped, and they escaped to those coastal islands.
Right, which is why they have their own kind of culture, way of doing things, where it's totally different than right.
So that it's not something like that y'all don't necessarily have. It's something that has to be cultivated.
Right.
Jamaicans are very, like, we had that rebellious nature because we had the Coromantee and the Ghanaian people, really the Akan tribe, even though they weren't the dominant group, because we have a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Igbo.
Right.
They became the dominant culture in Jamaica.
Right.
So it became a culture of resistance, of fighting back. And part of that resistance for us was speaking the African words, still practicing the African religion.
Right.
So here, it's
it's
an island. So you gotta think about the different systems of slavery, right? In the US, there's so much space and you're so spread out that you can't really come together like that.
Well, and obviously when we desegregated, then now you're integrated
Even
with your oppressor. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So Jamaicans obviously being on an island where it's surrounded, well, not surrounded, but obviously you're a little bit more isolated.
Slavery also in Jamaica, like here in the U.S., Thomas Jefferson took his wife's sister. When we talk about Sally Hemings or whatever her name, that was his wife's half sister. Her daddy had bred her mama,
right,
and that was her slave. So he took his wife's slave and had kids with her,
right.
And they said freed like one of his sons when he died that was white passing. Like the one that was white passing.
Yeah.
So in Jamaica, it was a totally different system. You got to remember, these people are coming down from the hills, raiding these, big plantations and killing slave masters. We're constantly having that issue.
Right.
So the British, let the Scottish marry them. They and same thing happened in Haiti, which is why Haitians sometimes they got the issue with like white Haitians. They're talking about people like me that are mixed.
Yeah.
Because
Well, not
what they
Haitians.
did was a social. It's like create a social buffer basically.
Yeah.
By creating mixed people.
They start calling this Creole and all kind
Right.
of shit. Start
So
freaking
that
out.
didn't and in the islands.
So is it bad to be called Creole? Just want to know.
That's
Nah,
another
but
conversation
mulatto-
for a different day.
Mulatto
Mulatto's
comes
a
from little
negative.
mule, so
Right.
don't
Okay.
call me
I
that.
was going to make sure.
That's what I
Yeah.
said. That's what I just said. They start
That's why the
calling
rapper
it,
had so much controversy when she named herself that, because we were like, that's
I was
not
like,
a-
girl, you slow. But okay.
That's why I said ignorant. Just
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
but
know.
Well, and then when she was educated on it, then she still wanted to keep it, I think,
Yeah.
after that. So I don't know.
no, she changed it. I thought she changed it to Lotto.
Yeah, Big Lotto.
Big Lotto.
Okay, so then somebody got to her. Okay.
She changed it.
Okay.
kinda.
Right.
Halfway.
That's the same thing. Halfway.
Barely.
It's
Right.
Better than, it's better than original.
It is better.
Man.
Yeah.
But,
We all know the root of it.
Right.
So
exactly.
what it
Like,
is like, it's a different system of slavery. They knew that they had to allow the Africans to do their African stuff, because if we don't, they're gonna kill us.
Got it.
Right.
They're outnumbered in Jamaica. Jamaica is a 95% black country. You know what I
Right.
mean? So they're in the U.S. You're only 13%.
It was
so
less
they
invasive.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you. So
I mean,
then
they're-
obviously
they're
then
still
you were
buck breaking and doing all that terrible stuff.
but you were able to preserve your culture more, and obviously, like I said, practice your customs, the religion.
But there's still the loss of it. You know what I mean? There's
Hold on, before you get on, because I know we can get onto a whole history lesson. I just wanted to make sure that we all agreed before we get on to the next subject. We all agreed that on that question that we do think that us as African Americans that we can be prejudiced against other
because
black.
Yes.
at the core, we're still Americans.
Yeah.
So obviously,
and it's not just black Americans. Like I said, I'm a combat veteran. I
All
promise
American.
you.
Yeah.
All Americans, when we work
Just
with our
Americans.
NATO partners, they're like, man, them fucking Soviet bastards. Like,
Yeah.
those Slovaks are idiots. The Romanian goddamn gypsies. Like, that's how it is. We're America first, right?
yeah, that's why that's why I say like it is different. Like we're Black Americans. At the end of the day, bruh, we're Americans.
Yeah.
And I feel like even in other countries, I feel like they look at even Jamaican Americans differently. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like it's that's just how it is. Like if you're from and born and raised in America, that's how they look at you as
Yeah.
an American.
When I go home to visit my family in Jamaica, they looking at me as like the American white girl.
Exactly. That's what I'm
You know,
saying.
and when
So
I
it's like-
explain to them like the racial dynamics in like the US, like in the US I'm not white, they're like amazed by it. Like, no, I'm like, yeah, they call me nigga. They're like,
what?
what? And I'm like, yes, I've been called a hard R nigger. They're like, cause it's your hair. It's they know you're black because of your hair.
black
They
features, yeah.
can't. They don't understand
They don't
that
get it.
because in Jamaica, like I said, someone like me, it's a black country. So when I show up in my little neighborhood, that's not the hills above Montego Bay, the white people might come to the tourist sites, in Mo Bay, but they're not up in the hills.
Got it.
So some of these kids have never seen white people before. They're like, it's a white woman. I'm
So-
looking around like, where? Oh, me?
All perspective. I mean, all
And
perspective.
I think it needs to be talked about more because I think when you know better, you do better, and that's why like with the whole argument with the Caribbean Twitter versus Black Twitter, it was like, damn, like I can't participate because I know better. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like her liking those type of tweets and shit like that. It's like, sis, come on, you got to know better than that.
Yeah.
That was
so you
my
can't
point.
get too emotionally
man.
charged with it, and I feel
Sha'Carri
like Black
showed us
people
that
do.
She don't know much of nothing. Bro.
No, but I feel like Black
Right.
people,
I'm not surprised.
Black Americans. Let me not say Black people. I feel like Black Americans get very defensive. You know what I'm saying when these conversations come up because we look at ourselves as oppressed, and so how could we possibly be oppressing anybody else? And you can't check your privilege if you're not educated. You know what I mean? You got to be educated on more than just
what
like
goes
you said,
on,
American history.
what
Like you
what affects you.
Because you have to realize, like, me being a kid growing up, like, I really thought I was born with a silver spoon. Like, I came out the punani with the silver spoon in my mouth because I didn't understand the analogy that my dad would make when he would say, you're born in United States. You were born with the silver spoon. Automatically, because you're born here, you're born with privilege.
Yeah.
And sometimes Black people don't understand that because, yes, you are oppressed in the United States. But as far as Black people
on a
go
world
worldwide,
stage. Yeah.
you have the most opportunity.
Yeah, I think something like, I forgot what it was, like people that live in America, even if you're making like the average income, you're still like in the top like 80 or 90% of wealth in the world.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yep.
So you have to think, but see, I think that's why
When we
conversations.
go and we stay for $13,000 because I just looked. I said, "Oh, let me look at Rose Hall, right, where my ancestors were slaves. My grandma's last name is Rose. It's the big resort that all the tourists come to in Jamaica.
Sure.
Hilton Rose Hall, 400-acre resort, 400-acre plantation, and Black people love to come there." Just like white people, tourists love to come and turn up. And they come with their little American attitude. And they treat the people that work there. Because how do we treat people who work in service?
That's right.
Bad. And we come there. We like to kick it. And like I said, no one here, it would be an outrage, right? Because what was his name? The Notebook boy. And Gossip Girl. Ryan Gosling, right? He had a plantation wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was like,
What do
you
you
can't
want
do
from
that.
me?
Yeah.
Right, but we were like, you can't do that. But we don't ever say like, hey, you got these Black people in a Black country coming essentially back to slavery to work on a plantation for Americans to come, and you're paying them slave wages because my cousin makes like $1 a fucking hour, and that shit pisses me off. I swear to God, they were like, oh, let's go to a resort. I didn't know we were going to Rose Hall. So we pull up. I was like, oh, no, they got to let us in for free. I'm not paying $80 US to come in this resort.
Right.
Yeah.
I already paid for it. My ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears. It's been paid for. They're like, be quiet. They're going to get us kicked out.
No,
But
Oh,
I'm in
yeah.
here
That's a good point. I think, us on the podcast, just as Americans, we have to realize that you gotta, sometimes just listen, because sometimes you don't know everything. And the world, even though we feel like the world revolves around America, which that's what we're taught, again, as Black people, we all have dealt with oppression, with slavery, with just being oppressed. Really, it may be a different oppression, but the thing that links us together is that we all at some point in time come from the motherland. So
Right.
and
So
that
with that
and that
being
has to
said,
connect us.
support each other, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I look for Black businesses to support, and I don't think like, oh, they're African American.
Right.
I gotta support the Jamaican businesses only. No,
No,
if you Black, you Black.
Black.
I'm gonna try to shop with you. Same way, I would like people, whoever's listening to this podcast, us right here, to think about that when we do travel and we leave this country. Who are we supporting? Are we going to the Hilton? Because Paris Hilton don't need my fucking money. For real.
No lie.
Why are we going to the Hilton? There's Jamaican run. Yeah, it might not be as fancy, but there is nice resorts that are run by Jamaicans. Airbnb is nice. There's lots of good Airbnbs. So you just got to sometimes think outside of the box and try to support our people.
Facts.
And that was a foundation of, what Marcus Garvey was talking about. Spend your money, build your own economy within each other. That's a foundation of what, Malcolm X, and I can't say I agree with everything Farrakhan talks about, but we got to support each other.
Gotta
because
support our people.
no one else is going to do
definitely
it.
something that we support here on the Reverb.
Absolutely. Black. Support all black. Black.
I really hope that this conversation really motivates people to get educated.
They got to get their notepad out.
And again,
some of this conversation.
and
Because usually I got stuff to say. I'm just like
kind of listening. Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes it's good to listen.
But
So
part
speaking
of
of
the issue with that is what you're saying is like you hope people are motivated to learn is that it's not being taught.
Yeah, that part.
That's
And
true.
when you go to,
that's a good point.
If you go to City College right now, like I said, I took the class.
Yeah.
The very first thing the teacher said is, I know you're wondering why a white woman's teaching history of African civilizations. And it's because there is no Black professor here to teach it to you. And You need to be the young scholars that step up and educate yourself in order to educate people. That's the reality. We need people to get into anthropology because there's places all over this country where there's slave artifacts, where there's, mass graves that need to be excavated. There's underwater excavation that's happening, and it's very few people that look like us representing this. So how can our history be told? Because guess what? That's how white people tell their history. That's how anthropology, history, and these, groups get started. Is people want to say, hey, we're the best. This is our history, right?
Yeah.
Flag waving.
Yeah.
Unless we, go out and do it, no one's going to do it for us.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, no, and that's facts. But I think that also speaks to the disconnect that we have, because a lot of us, only history that we have ever been taught or ever known is slavery, and before that, it's kind of like we don't know what's what. So,
but that's pushed towards you, because guess what? Ancient Timbuktu is built in Africa by black people, and you know what the anthropologists first said when they found it? Oh, some white people must have made this, because there's no way that this could be so advanced.
Oh, that's when they talk about the aliens and shit.
Yeah,
right.
or Egypt and
Egypt
all
is
that,
made by
Kanye and all
aliens,
that.
because it can't possibly be made by, I swear to God, Egypt must be made by aliens, because it can't possibly be made by black people.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. We need black people. If y'all really passionate about who you are and where you came from, it's there. That's why, me personally, I said I'm gonna study anthropology, and I'm going to make my passion and my field and my thesis about Caribbean archaeology, because there's not enough of it. And guess what? The one teacher that I found that's teaching is at San Francisco State. She's a white woman that studies slaves, medicine, and like I said, a white woman. Like, you know what I mean?
It's not us.
It's not us.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I think for us, it's a little bit harder to do that.
It is harder. It is harder because
we don't know with the transatlantic slave trade. It's obviously you can do the African ancestry DNAs and all those other things, but we don't have the same connection to our lineage that other Africans do that have been moved around. So for us,
but just like you see white people all into this genealogy,
but white people,
you got to learn the process and learn how to do everything. There's records that you can find. One show that I love. I love is Finding Your Roots. Right.
I'm just saying
Finding
that it's
your
not.
Roots
That
will
it's
go
not
back through your whole.
Right, but it's not. I'm just saying that it's not easy. And for us, most people in this day and age, if it's not easy, then you're not going to take you ain't going to just do it. You know what I mean? Like for white people, they have grandmas and grandmas or whatever that will speak and talk about their history, where you come from. Or you can, like, if I'm Italian, I can go back to Italy. I know exactly where my family came from and things like that. So we're going to get onto the question of the day.
Each one teach one, right?
Yes.
Everyone right here, if that's what you feel, then you got to instill that in your child.
No, yeah.
My anthropology professor, he's in here, got a PhD in anthro. He says, my dad was a psychologist, but he just happened to be interested in the Maya. And he would read me, like, books about the Maya people. And that's what I ended up studying.
Facts.
So you got to instill that in your children so each generation is doing better.
Right. Yeah.
Period.
Agree. All right, Steph, we're going to get into the question of the day.
It's on me. All right, so this question of the day was inspired by Rajeo.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to have an in-depth conversation about the fact that men are chosen based on how much they make. Ain't that what you said?
Yeah, what was the question? Is it the one on my page?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I said, the question I asked was, does a person's career make them more or less attractive?
And so,
okay,
that was the original question that
like 300 comments
that Rajeo posted.
Okay, so is that the question we're gonna answer?
No, in response to that, my question was, why does economic theory not assign monetary value to peace of mind? Because we always talk about how much you make, but we never talk about that sacrifice that goes into how much you make.
I agree with that right there. Because that was another thing that got brought up.
We talked about that this morning.
Between me and you, we was kind of bumping heads. Because, like always. Because exactly that, what Steph just said. Now, the CEO and the hippie have two different lifestyles, right?
Exactly.
But is either one's lifestyle better than the other if they're both happy?
Yeah.
If
that's
you
why it
have
was
your
a-
peace of mind with
That's
your
why
money,
that's why it was an individual question. It was a question to say, there's more people who want a CEO than more people who want hippies. So even though they have their own lifestyles,
depends on where you live and
It
where you're
depends on-
from. Because, like I said, I
But-
grew up Humboldt County. There's some rich ganja growing hippies up there, and you would never know that they rich because they walking around barefoot. But they're harvesting
but
60% of all the marijuana created in the entire United States.
But you're still isolating a very, very small portion of the people.
I'm just
in
saying,
Humboldt-
there's
Humboldt.
people that are there.
The original,
Yeah. So what's the question we're answering?
The original meme said 2 people are employed. One makes 150K and is stressed out. One makes 60K and ain't worried about a damn thing. Both meet their respective financial goals on a monthly basis. Who earns more? And why does economic theory not assign a monetary value to peace of mind? That's the full question.
Okay. So what's the question we're answering? Just why does the economic theory not assign monetary value to peace of mind?
That sounds like the question.
That's
to
the
me.
question. Okay. Because I know the original question that you said was about men or basically if a career makes you more attractive.
Yeah.
So we're not answering that. We're answering why monetary value does not factor in peace of mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna go around the room. So we're gonna start with photo B. We're gonna go this way.
Yeah. So exactly what exactly are you asking?
Why do
But
we
we said it out 3 times now. You're not hear
why
us?
do we not value peace of mind when we talk about people's earning power?
The hustle mentality. We pretty much put like if you're not working, you're not doing enough. We put that way too much into perspective of like how things are supposed to be. Like
Coming out hot, guys.
Right, you're supposed to be working hard. You're supposed to be doing this. Like, yo, but it's like, why am I doing this for? Am I working hard to continue to work hard?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Nope.
mean? People,
No,
people,
you're not.
Right, we're too wrapped up into the mentality of like if we have too much time on our hands, then you're not doing enough.
Got it.
So
You're
we
not
have to be.
productive.
We feel like we have to be constantly doing something, and then it's like if you're not doing something, people on the outside will look at you like, "Oh, you're not doing enough," and then also you're gonna feel that internally. It's like, "Shit, I'm not doing enough."
Got it.
Facts.
Coming out hot.
Now, I want to ask you, where does that mindset come from? Because when you go to other countries,
No,
people
we
will
just
say,
asked
So
the
before,
question first.
we gotta
Answer
answer
the
the
question.
question.
it's slow.
We gotta answer the question.
I'm saying why it doesn't is because it's a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant where you work hard and you get your rewards in heaven. And that's the real reason is we're indoctrinated to think that you should be working. And that's a very American thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the foundation of who we are.
Well, shit, that's where we at.
Right. But you know,
I'm just saying.
but you're not white, and I'm sure you're not
No, but here's the
a
thing. though.
Protestant.
But
So
here's the thing, though. Most of everybody's belief system, everybody's lifestyle, everything that everybody does is based off of where they've been raised, what their region is, what's going on in their life. I can't adapt any other type of ideology if I'm not around it. I have to go out and do the research. But
That's
based
true.
off of how I'm 30 years old, my decisions right now are based off of what I've been used to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And the
until-
lifestyle that you want to attain.
your
Exactly.
cultural
Going
that's
around.
called your cultural indoctrination.
Right.
But at any point,
around a lot of people, around the people that I'm around, have a certain mentality. So of course, I'm going to adapt the mentality that I'm around. I can't adapt the mentality that I'm not around. I can't use that shit
That's
if
true.
I'm not
Photo
around.
B says we ball.
But look, we're in the age of technology. Everything's right at your fingertips.
It is. It
So
is,
if
but
you
do I
wanna,
have time
if you
to do
want to
that?
change your lifestyle, if you want to, if tomorrow you decide I'm gonna study Buddhism and I feel like I want to go on a Buddhist retreat and take a month up in Mount Shasta, they got a whole monastery up there, and that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do it.
That's true.
But that's
Go ahead,
good,
Raj.
that's good for your mental. And
ahead.
then you get back to your grind.
Go ahead.
You playing.
I'm just saying.
There are certain things that we all want individually. If
Bingo.
we want those things, we got to do. The
That's
things that we
so.
gotta do
That's
to
my
get
that's my answer. My answer is you cannot take into account your mental health or what is the mental stress that goes
Peace of
into your
mind.
career, your peace of mind, because you are responsible for that in your own right. For me, I'm not working after 35, right? So up until that point, I'm going hard every day. I'm on the stocks and investing with G Focus, and we're making as much money and we're flipping as much as we can, because my idea for working hard is I'm gonna have all that peace of mind and that relaxation. I'm gonna enjoy that in my mid 30s and in the later part of my life. So for me, myself personally, I don't really care about sleep or what I got to do. I just know that I got these goals that I want to obtain, and then I want to use those goals and then and give back to other people the way that we were able to do it. So, but I think the majority of people, like you said, it is indoctrinated into us that money is equivalent to success. And I think that's the most important thing for most people. But we also live in the United States and we live in California. So the more money you make, the easier your life is, the more you can afford to go to games and enjoy the fruits of your labor. So I think that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I think for the most part, I think it's really on an individual basis. Unless you're like in a situation to where like you're a single mom or you're a single dad and you absolutely got to bear the brunt of everything. Got it. That's it. Okay. That's my answer.
I think it's not because we are taught that our worth is in how much money we make. And it's not like peace, and it's not a priority. It's just not like how much you earn, what you do. Like you said, that's the first thing people ask you. Like, oh, what do you do for a living?
Especially when you're a dude.
We had that conversation.
A lot of our self-worth is in our career and how much we make at doing that.
But that's why I asked that question.
When we talk about cultural anthropology, this is my focus that I love. That's one of the things that gets brought up in the United States. How do we address people when we meet them? You know, hi, hello, you're sitting talking to them, you go, oh, what do you do for a living? Because in the United States, it's considered rude to say, oh, how much money do you make? Right?
Right. So
we say, what do we do? What do you do for a living? So we can gauge how much money you make. So we could gauge the level of respect that we're supposed to give.
And that's what we were saying.
Yeah.
And that's what we were saying.
That's what we talked about.
Now, and I know, Steph, you had brought up a point that sometimes that can just lead to a deeper conversation, which is true. But I think the majority of times when that question is asked,
out where they should respect you.
Yeah, it's how much level of respect.
Because even if when I tell people that I'm a baker and I got stuff going on, and I'm just, they're like, oh man, that's cool. You know what I mean? And but it's interesting because I'm a man. Yeah. And I bake. But then when I tell people I'm an electrical engineer or a real estate investor, I get a totally different type of audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because right away, they're just like, oh, so you're rolling in the cash, you're rolling in the dough. Maybe you're somebody I can talk to buy this or buy that. Yeah. You know what I mean? There are different levels of respect.
Yeah, it's a weird perspective. It's just like, even like when we were talking about the trades, right? So if you introduce yourself as a plumber, then you're like,
yeah, you're a plumber.
You're a plumber. But if you say, oh, I got a PhD in such and such, and you don't even have a job, it's, oh, you got a PhD.
Facts. And even though the plumbers in the union are
making more money. That's what I'm saying.
$150,000 a year.
My husband and I are talking about, I think I might do plumbing on the side.
Yeah.
$150K.
I'm gonna keep my answer short so we can get on to the internet wins again. Is because we live in a capitalistic society.
Yes,
that's all that it boils down to.
That's what Photo B said.
Yeah, that's
the long version.
The longer answer. Yeah, that's all that it boils down to. That when you live in a capitalistic society, the more money you make, the more respect you have, the more prestige you have, and people are willing to sacrifice their family, their peace of mind, and not have balance, so that way they can try to get ahead. Because even for us as a community, we're thinking that we're behind the 8 ball in the realm of generational wealth. So we're thinking like,
how do we make it all up by ourselves?
Can I try to make it up in my generation so that way my kids can then have an easier life going forward, because we're so behind. Yep. So
let's ask.
Then the family structure suffers because of it, because you may have a dad that's not there all the time because he's busting his ass trying to get it. But then it's like, again, like that peace of mind thing is, would it have been more beneficial for you to be home? And in most cases, the answer is yes.
Because like I said, my husband's an iron worker. Sometimes it be your own people. Because I swear to God, he got the one black foreman that be like, work overtime. Stay here for 12 hours. Get your money. You don't want to get your money? It's like, I want to be with my family.
So that goes back to the original question. I want to hear what you guys think. Does a person's occupation or career make them more or less attractive when you meet them on the initial meeting?
And we're not talking attractive like physically. We're just saying like attractive as if as a choice of being in a relationship.
Yes.
Oh hell yeah,
absolutely. You yes.
And I'm talking generally. I'm not saying me personally. I'm saying generally, yes.
For me, it doesn't. But I grew up, like I said, in a very alternative lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like
Man, that could be
Rastas,
taken a lot of
Humboldt
ways.
County. No, I'm saying alternative as like Rastafari.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who believe basically in separating yourself from society.
Right. But that's your personal
Right,
viewpoint.
so-
But generally, do
So
you think?
for me personally, like we're saying on a personal level, for me,
That's because her husband
does
rich.
it?
No, I was
My
saying
husband-
generally.
Nah, but guess what? My husband will do his job, and he'll also go out and hustle because that's what's ingrained in
Right,
us. You know what I mean? If he's like, if I could do something on the side, I'm gonna do that. But that's the Jamaican way too. So that's
Because most of us
in
just want to get to that point to where we can do whatever we want. Financial freedom is the goal.
That's the goal.
is the goal.
That's all. I think that most of us are willing to sacrifice that peace of mind for a while if we have a goal and a plan to obtain financial freedom.
Yes.
Because
Right.
I know for a fact, Focus is not sleeping at night. I could text him at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's going to be up.
I'm up.
Man,
I'm gonna start texting y'all. Y'all know I be.
You know what
I'll
I'm saying?
start
He's up.
texting y'all. Let me know what's up. With this podcast, because-
He's up.
Like,
He's
what?
up.
Why you ain't telling us
right.
He is. He says it all the time.
Right.
in the text?
You don't care about us enough. That's what's going on.
I be checking y'all.
Hey,
text.
she be
You
at
know what?
Casamigos about 7 p.m. and then we don't hear about from her till 12 p.m. the next day.
She be on that tequila.
She-
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
But for my answer for yours is no. I still need more information.
So what? Hold on. Was the question personally or was it generally?
It was generally.
Okay.
Like, yeah, generally when you
But
meet a
but it's
person-
still a good answer. So
Yeah,
generally,
I
no.
think
We
my
know
answer.
generally, yeah, we know it.
We know
We've
generally.
already
Okay.
established.
But
generally
personally,
the-
yeah, you
personally,
said no.
I
You said
still
no.
need- I
I
need
say
more
no.
No, you said yes.
No,
I said generally yes. I
Look.
said personally
Oh,
no.
But personally, no.
Well,
Is
for me, well, yeah, obviously for most men, the answer is going to be personally no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't this back to like the Kevin Samuel stuff?
For-
Because
but
men
generally
don't care.
it does. Well, but generally, because if somebody says, well, generally, like if you meet somebody who has, like you said, titles.
Well, you know what? Hold on.
Okay,
Actually,
so
I'ma
if
change-
you meet
change my.
the big booty girl that work at McDonald's,
I'ma change.
and you feel me? She look good.
Initially, I'm going to say you work at McDonald's, and most niggas is going to smash her a couple times, but you still work at McDonald's.
Most niggas will see the potential.
Facts. The potential and get him the rocks off.
And then
And
get
they'll be
her
like,
out.
I'm gonna get you right back on these fries when we get finished.
A lot of them, see, that's what you're saying is men who are choosing up now, go back to your fries. But a lot of them going to be Mr. Captain out here.
And then try to
Savor.
elevate her. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Because I got the body now. Let's just work on your other shit. But you know what?
If you're 25, 30, and you tell me you work at McDonald's and that's all you're
That's
doing.
you personally.
Yeah. I'm gonna say
People
this.
out here loving hoes. Be real.
I'm gonna say this.
And it goes both ways because there's plenty of there's a lot of girls out here. My baby daddy ain't shit. He wasn't shit when you met him, sis.
That's true.
And you're mad at him for not being shit now.
More attractive? Yes or no?
For the what they do?
Yes.
No.
I'm gonna change my answer. I'm gonna say yes. Because she may have a career that may be beneficial to
Bingo.
my life. Like
That's
she
what
may
that-
be a
I
nurse.
mean, yeah. If that part, yes.
Listen. For me,
Not for monetary gain,
No,
but like
for-
if she has knowledge or expertise
and
in the field
it's
that
a
may
nice
help.
fit.
Yeah.
It's a nice fit.
Yeah. I'm gonna change my answer on that one.
It's a nice. I would always like I got, we're working on real estate license and stuff now because it's beneficial for us collectively,
For the goal.
right? Because
Yeah.
that's where all our money's at.
Yeah.
It's all tied up.
Yeah.
So even though it wasn't there when we started talking,
Yeah.
boom, let's put it together.
That
now,
makes sense.
And then let's.
I'm
so
gonna
we can-
build.
change my answer. I'm gonna change my answer.
But also there was never a McDonald's situation.
No.
Nah. You got to be able to build together and
That
you got to
part.
be able, like you said, share each other's vision. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want my husband to be out here breaking his back for somebody forever.
Right.
And him and one of his, other supervisors, like, hey, we want to start doing pools. They did a pool. They made a lot of money. He said, well, I just want to focus on a company in the next couple of years that's doing pools. Now, do I have any interest in that? No, but
Right.
I'm a veteran.
Right.
And what's available to me?
As
Small
far as the loans
business
and
veteran
stuff.
loans.
Yep.
So as long as my name's on that, y'all go ahead and handle it.
Yep.
You
But
can
that-
get
but that's
the
how it's
loans.
supposed to
I
work,
think it's
right?
about
But it
again.
fits.
supposed to work.
It's
Yeah.
a
I
good
think it's
fit.
about sharing vision. Because same thing with my husband. Like we ain't doing anything of what we were doing when we first met each other. Obviously, you know what I'm saying. But our values and everything else aligned. And I feel like everything we was able to grow because, you know, he's a personal trainer, you know what I'm saying? And I never would have seen myself trying to get a degree in public health, but that's where that's what I'm doing
But
now.
it makes sense
but it
for
never
your growth.
it never would have got there if we didn't grow together. So if I was worried about the fact that he didn't have no damn job and his phone was off when I met him,
Oh, you was fucking
we
up.
wouldn't be here.
But y'all was also, but you were also in college.
Yeah, that's true.
You were in college.
That's true.
There's no way you would talk to a nigga who didn't have a job and no phone right
And
now.
like 34,
There's
35.
no way.
That's
You're
true.
right.
That's true.
With your
But
discriminatory ass.
she's already established herself. So like we were talking about earlier, social group, social
Yeah.
stratification.
Yeah, but that's
She's not gonna be established and ever date somebody that, like she said,
Right.
Well, that's what I
But
mean. That's why I
yeah.
asked the question.
That's a good question.
At
That was a good
time.
question. That was a good question.
I mean, the comments went up on there.
Oh yeah, no, I saw him. I didn't want to get in it. I didn't have the energy, but
Man,
yeah,
I left my one little comment like, yeah, that's because we asked people, you know, those questions
Yeah.
to find out how much we really want to give them our respect.
I want to know parts of that
And-
conversation.
That all was done.
Yo, I'm telling you, like sometimes I just be reading stuff, or I'll see Steph post something, or she'll see me post something, and then it's just like boom.
I cherish my peace of mind.
Sometimes
All
right.
I just be like, ooh.
No, you don't.
I ain't
You don't.
touching.
What's
Yeah,
this
yeah,
boy
you do. He
talking about
changed his
today?
mind a lot.
Oh yeah, I
He said-
stopped. Yeah,
His comment, he posted that yesterday. He said this so my wife can stop asking me why I've been up all night. Had
seen
me
that.
hell a week yesterday.
yeah.
Peace of mind. Here's your piece of mind.
A lot of pieces. All right, we're gonna move on to the internet. Oh, hold on. Internet wins again. Turn this down. Where we talk about the hottest internet topics that is going on right now. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it over to Steph.net, or you want me to take this one?
No, we got it. First up, we got Drake versus Kanye.
Yeah.
12 years in the making.
I was about to say this has been going on for a long time. This is nothing new, but in the latest episode of the beef, allegedly they say Kanye is the one that told Pusha about his son before he was able to let the world know, and
That's
that we
lies.
all know about the epic diss about Drake's son. So
Story of Adonis.
yes.
Mhm.
Moving on now, Kanye has released Drake's address.
That's
A
So-
post and delete.
that's great.
Well, the thing is,
That's my level of
It was a
pity.
post and delete, but I mean, we all know how the internet works.
well, not even just that though. Like, Drake's house is on the map. You can Google that shit. No, deadass. It's like they're saying
that's
like
why
Drake's
he
house
was
is
laughing.
Drake's
Yeah.
house is like a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it's
tourist
not like it's like,
attraction,
oh,
Toronto.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
like my shit is hidden and shit.
Yeah.
What do
Like,
they call it?
Right.
They call it the estate.
Yeah, they're
something.
Yeah.
like they're saying it's like the
OVO
biggest
state.
house in Toronto. They're
Yeah.
like, you can't miss that.
So it's
People-
well known. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So he really wasn't doing that.
No.
No, he really wasn't, but it was just the idea of it
Right.
is like
Yeah.
disrespectful because you saw what Drake posted after that himself laughing.
Laughing,
yeah.
Now on the Jamaican end, you know, he got a couple artists behind him. Popcorn,
Mhm.
you know, Popcorn reposted
Wizkid.
it. Yep, like keep laughing because if you stop laughing, it's trouble.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
So, what do we think?
I love it.
I love it too. I'm gonna tell you why, because I think last episode we talked about competition,
Mm-hmm.
and just if you go into the history of their beef or their competition, they push each other, right?
Facts.
So, like for instance, Watching the Throne would not have been possible if Drake did not announce that he and Lil Wayne were gonna have an album. That's the only reason why Watch the Throne even was in existence. And then Drake and Wayne didn't
That's
do
a
it.
classic.
And then, but then Ye and Jay went, you know, obviously Ye, I think, worked on that album so hard because he knew
It was amazing.
it was going to have to be try to be in some type of competition. So they push each other. I love the pettiness, but the only part I like about it is the competitiveness where they're pushing each other. We're going to talk about the listening party a little bit later, but,
Because that was a whole mess.
oh, it was. we already knew, and I think we talked about it last episode or episode before, that Kanye was waiting on Drake to drop because they wanted to drop on the same day. So what it looks like is going to end up happening is they're going to drop on the 3rd. So
Together?
yes,
Nice.
which marketing wise, I don't know if I really
That's bad
buy
it's bad for Drake.
that this is all, that all of this is not somewhat planned. Because if you think about it, Kanye already did this before, and he did it with 50.
I was gonna say you took my point.
He already did it. And what ended up happening is that they both had big weekends or that big opening week because it was like Kanye versus 50. Yeah. Whose album do you want to listen to the most? And then they both went off. So
Ye beat him.
Yeah, he did. But at the end of the day, they both ended up winning. So I think it's going to hype up the third where people are going to be listening to both.
And
I know you're not. I'm saying the general public.
And Cardano is also dropping smart contracts on that day. So
there you go. So
it's gonna be a great
there will be money all the way around. So I just think that I think it's a genius way to promote your album. Kanye is obviously a genius in marketing, whether you believe he's on his meds or not. The bottom line is that on the third, now you're thinking
he's
about
definitely off his meds. Remember his meds, he said, make him not be a genius.
Yeah, there you go.
So the genius is there because he's tripping.
He's
tripping on the internet. But it works.
It works.
On the third, you're not even talking about MAGA hat. You're not talking about any of that stuff now. Now you're talking about Drake's beef. You're talking about the Donda listening party. You're talking about Kanye and Kim possibly rekindling their marriage.
I think that's a part of it too.
Yeah. I can't wait until a part that.
I heard that was fake.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a part of the whole.
It's just, I think Kim knows he's mentally unstable. She be playing along with him sometimes, but I heard that she didn't want nothing to do with that, and that she was a little upset about the whole, Marilyn Manson coming out, because that boy got a bunch of rape charges on him right now, and that's not a good look.
And the baby.
And the baby, right? But Kanye, like anything you said, marketing genius. Anything Kanye likes to be controversial.
You don't always have to say, I sell my soul to sell my soul.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
hey, but y'all, did y'all listen to the baby's verse though?
No. But didn't we say that? Didn't we say that people were going to forget about it? And he was going to be right back to what he was doing before?
Yeah, but it was kind of fire.
It was fire?
Yeah. Kind of fire. I liked it.
I'm a bootleg it. I'm not gonna listen to the stream.
You could there's like videos out.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna listen.
I've seen it on the Shade Room.
I don't think the baby ever puts out bad verses. They sound the same on the same type of beats.
But on Kanye's
production. Yeah.
What'd you think? Did you give your point?
Y'all already know I'm not listening to Kanye. I'm Team Drake all the way.
She's Team Drake. Yeah, we already knew that.
I feel that.
Welcome to the pod where you gotta listen to both.
I love it. I love the beef. I love it because what else are you gonna do when you're you're two billionaires?
Yeah, that's true.
Facts.
I'm bored. You bored? You want to beef? Yeah, let's beef. Let's make some more money. Yeah, let's make some more money. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's nice. Kanye did not tell about a Pusha T about Adonis. It was actually some chick that 40 was messing with, and they were pillow talking.
That's what Push said,
and that's how it got out.
Of course, that's what he gonna say.
Yeah, but it's the most reasonable way to get information.
We already had the conversation about that, about how much information you get pillow talking.
Boy, I tell you, the pillow talking, boy, that talking pillow.
You be getting a lot of information pillow talking.
Hey, bro, I tell you what.
Oh my God!
If you want to make a good beef song, all you gotta do is mess with somebody. Baby mama, she'll tell you everything. God damn. But I think it's genius. I think that Kanye is definitely gonna outsell Drake on the third because it's a personal album named after his mom.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a sentimental value that he put behind it. I think that
you don't think it's all the antics and it's coming out set on fire and it's long ass party. Come on now.
Listen, Drake. Okay, you don't see anything but the negative with Kanye. Okay,
all the bullshit he been doing to lead up to the album, everybody gonna want to listen to it now.
That's what I think too. It's Kanye, Madman, head no good, but
no good in the accent.
I gotta do it for Drake because everyone from Toronto, Jamaican, but Drake is international, so he's gonna get his sales too.
Yeah.
I mean, Kanye is too.
Kanye is too, but even with pop groups and stuff, when you tour internationally and you make a lot of money on
Kanye has everybody on the album.
So who's gonna have the better opening week?
Kanye,
Drake.
Kanye's got Trip on there.
I'm rolling with my man.
It's not even because I'm like a big Drake fan. Honestly, I've always loved Kanye. I think he's genius, just like most crazy people. Van Gogh cutting his ear off and stuff. It's a trait.
No, yeah, there's a trend. Yeah,
a lot of creative like geniuses, they do have mental health issues.
Yeah.
So you feel me?
That's probably what's wrong with me.
Man,
I never really
you'll be
thought.
alright.
I never really thought about it.
Don't take your meds to stifle your genius.
Yeah, you need help.
Damn, now everybody, tell me how you really feel.
I love Kanye, you know, as artistically.
As a person.
Sound like you about to go with Drake.
But I'm about to go with Drake.
But Kanye went out. He got a cheater list of features. He didn't.
I'm surprised he replaced Jay.
Trip. He probably didn't. He probably put Jay on the
I was
he did.
confused.
He replaced him with the baby.
And how do you make $12 million on 2 listening parties and then do a third and then makes $8 million more?
I don't know.
Nigga, this nigga already
Crazy.
beat Drake.
Man,
Photo B, who you
it
think?
made crazy money.
$20 million.
Drake or
Opening
Ye?
weekend, Drake. Reason why is because I feel like a lot of people aren't too excited for Kanye. Not a lot of people have been talking about Kanye for the past few years when it comes to his actual music. You know what I mean? We're still
The music doesn't matter anymore.
right. We're still on the whole scoop diddy bop boop. Like nigga, like you really dropped that shit?
Well, hold on. So look,
That shit was fire.
No,
It was fire,
no,
but we're like, what
no,
the fuck?
but look,
Doopity scoop.
but do y'all know the story behind that? Drake,
I remember that.
I'm gonna tell you. So Drake, that was supposed to be Drake's beat.
Yeah, so he bought the beat.
No. He produced that beat, but he was promised it to Drake.
Oh yeah, he went to the mansion.
And then
he went to Wyoming.
And then what ended up happening is he ended up then releasing that song and just saying just random stuff on
so
it just
Drake
to be
couldn't
petty,
use it,
so that
yeah.
way Drake couldn't use
Drake
it.
couldn't use it. He actually,
That was in the middle of their beef.
Yeah,
so
but
when
but he went to Wyoming to get that beat. They were working together.
right,
And
but I'm
so
saying that was a jab at Drake.
that was the last time.
I'm not only not going to give you the beat. I'm also going to just say scoopity scoop all over the beat, so that way, yeah.
And then perform on live TV.
See, but when it
with
was
somebody
released, we were
dressed
like,
the
what the
titty
hell are you
emoji.
doing? So he just did it just so Drake couldn't.
This
use it.
is why.
That's why he's petty.
This is why I love Kanye. This is why I love
But
Kanye.
Kanye knows,
But
right?
Drake is also petty
Drake is hella
because
petty.
Drake steals niggas' girls and then he smashes them. And he writes songs about
See,
them.
but Drake was talking code, so that way when you react, then it makes it look like that you're
look
just
crazy.
you look crazy.
And that's why he's good at what he does.
Yeah. It's the subliminal 96 Wu-Tang East Coast rap. I put a little bar that only you know about, and then when you react, then it makes you look stupid.
He
So
said, "Pull up to the light, make her right." Kanye was like, "Hell no."
nigga giving directions to his house. Only Drake could do that in this song. All right. What we got next? Oh, Steph is up. We don't need to talk about the Donda listening party. Everybody can watch that on YouTube.
Man,
It was a lot.
we're over it.
It was a lot.
How many listening parties?
$20 million worth.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, and you know what? I'm gonna say this. I think Kanye is gonna outstream because it's not sell, I guess, anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna outstream.
The anticipation from doing listening parties.
It's just too much.
killing
Yeah,
it. It's killing it.
I still think Drake will have an incredible album, but when you name an album after your mom, put a little extra little. You know,
It's cheating.
it is cheating. It is.
Well, I mean, I think people that like I'm gonna listen to it because of that, partly because honestly, I do believe that's where we see Kanye's biggest like mental breakdown is really the death of his mother. That's when it was like, what happened to Kanye?
Right.
Yeah.
So
They said that he offered her up on the table as a sacrifice.
no, I think he probably
always say
feels
that.
guilty, right? Because when he went on this big rant, first of all, he came to Sacramento, right? And then started talking about the Trump stuff. People taking their Yeezys off and throwing at him. And Snoop Dogg was like, them Sacramento niggas ain't playing with you, cuz. It was hilarious, right? But in that moment, as someone who actually likes Kanye, I was like, ooh, he's having like a mental breakdown. And my mom worked at Southern Psych at the time, and they're like, oh, I hope he don't end up here. And then like 3 days later, it's like Kanye's hospitalized. So it didn't really come as a surprise to me. I think a lot of people thought he was just being like an asshole.
Yeah.
When reality is like anyone that's aware of mental health could
Yeah.
look and see like
He was having a breakdown.
there's been this change, and it really started with his mom. And I think part of it, because when he went on this big rant about, you know, being in the public eye and how he went and got liposuction because he felt like he had to do that because of y'all. Like, but the way he goes on TMZ is talking about it, it's like this, he's having a manic moment, so it comes
He's always
out
having
like
a manic moment.
right, but it's like da, 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 all over the place.
But that's what makes him great.
Right, but I think that was the issue with his mom, and he probably feels guilty about that. Is that he got a lot of money, we're in the public eye. She wanted to look a certain way, and now she's dead.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep, I agree with that.
She definitely, yeah.
Yep, he does feel. I would agree that he probably feels good. So I think, like 808 and Heartbreaks, I think this will be probably his most emotional, vulnerable out. You know what I mean? Because he's getting all that out. So yeah, I think for that reason, that's why I think that he will outstream Drake. Yeah, I was going to say outsell, but I guess you're not selling it. You're buying the stream.
Same.
Kind of same, similar. All right,
Same category. We'll put it
pretty
all
much.
to the same.
Next up.
All right. Ace Hood
I
and
love
setting healthy boundaries.
I feel like I do feel like he was making better music when he was signed.
Ace Hood?
Yeah,
well, he had better.
he was making.
He had better
He had
backing.
Cool and Dre. He had the Runners.
Yeah, but
he had DJ Khaled.
Rob said he had better backing, so you got that better
Boy,
production.
I'm gonna say
telling you,
producers.
it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Producers
It was
mix
crazy.
and mastering. So
That's true.
Photo. Before we go into this, how much time we got?
I mean, on this one, we got 4 minutes recording because we spent the
Yeah.
beginning
Okay.
30. But, I mean, we'll still. I don't think it really matters.
The camera crew says it doesn't matter.
This one has a ton of time.
Okay.
So between these two going back and forth, we'll be fine. By using this one right.
The camera crew said it doesn't matter.
The middle.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go into this conversation that Ace Hood had with his mother, and we're gonna talk about setting healthy boundaries with your parents. And so I'm gonna play the clip, and then we're gonna react to it, and then we're gonna get on to Rajeo's trash list. So give me 1 second.
Between me and you.
Yeah.
And we never had got into it.
Yeah.
When you was talking to me on the phone and you was snappy with me, and when I hung up that phone, I sat in that parking lot, I cried for an hour.
Right at that space of me transitioning to being an independent artist, my mom could express how unsupported she feels. I've been taking care of my mother for a decade plus. I've got her the cars, I've got her the house. And I think getting into a point to where things started to look different for me because I was no longer on a scale of being in a major label. Now I had to learn, well, what does this independent life look like, including my finances? So it was a huge point of misunderstanding for her, and we disconnected for some time.
You had hurt me so bad with some of the things you said to me.
I had to create some healthy boundaries between me, finances, and my family.
I am your mother. But to drop me cold, I was angry. I just felt like I was your all in all. I was your queen. But when Sheila became a part of, I felt like everything changed.
I feel like a lot of black men, black mother relationships stem like that in a way to where it's not fully healthy.
Not to judge anyone, but I felt like she had a lot to do with your decision.
It was solely about survival because the finances weren't the same. In my midst of going independent, that means I'm in a position now to where I got to be able to support myself and support my wife and my children. And Mom was a little threatened because for her, it looks like a woman that's coming in that's kind of dethroning her from being the queen.
I felt like she pulled you away from me.
Everybody,
You don't make an
people,
excuse for her, are you?
I would never make an excuse
Okay.
for her, but also have to protect my wife.
Right.
She brings me joy, she brings me love. It's like people are supposed to be excited about this type of stuff.
Right.
Let's take ourselves and get into her shoes. Recently, we had a miscarriage.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. Later on in the
kept playing
conversation,
that because his mama is toxic.
Yeah, she sound very.
She sound very. I
Selfish as shit.
never got a husband because I was waiting for you to grow up and be my husband.
so the way that the conversation
Because that's
finished,
what I was gonna say is, where's your man?
Right.
the way that the conversation finished, where they did reconcile, and they did agree. She did want the mom expressed that she wanted to build a relationship with Ace Hood's wife. And they said that they wanted to come back around more and basically build a
But she
relationship.
That should be a
lightweight
priority,
diss the whole, because he brought up like losing a baby at the end of that clip, and she was like, "But it wasn't like losing the other one."
Right.
So
Right.
to me,
I
it
can't
was
believe
like
she
she.
said that, bro.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa!" Like
Yeah.
this lady's
Yeah, I just as the gist of it towards the end. Yeah, you're right. That was a pretty bad part too. But
she said you held her, you know what I mean?
touched her, you kissed her.
You know what I mean?
At least this one was just a miscarriage.
right.
That's what it seemed like to me.
But it's also with a different woman, so it's like you dissing this lady's loss, and no matter what, it's still a child.
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what's the question?
So the question is just don't want to talk specifically about their situation. Just want to just talk about in general setting healthy boundaries for those that are married, obviously with their significant other's parents, or I'm sorry, with your parents, excuse me, or if you are not married, because there's some people that are not, that just how do you set, or have you been able to set healthy boundaries in your personal life?
Absolutely.
We know you have.
Now, I would not say like, oh, I've always been at this place, but where I'm at now, especially when you start to establish your own family, you have to set those boundaries, because a lot of times, especially with your parents, because they raised you, they feel like they have a right to input. And it's like, you still have to know, if I'm not asking you for input, I don't need it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is still at the end of the day, even if you do have input, but I'm still going to make my own decisions, because this is my household.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is my husband's leadership that I'm under, not yours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you just and you have to start it out from the beginning. I feel like a lot of times when people speak out of turn, or they feel like they can do that, it's because you let them, you know what I mean? Or you going to them too much and telling too much of your business from the gate. And then you open that door and they're going to keep walking through it.
Yeah.
Because then they feel like they're a part of the solution. Like they need to be the solution finder. You know what I mean?
I mean, as a parent, that's what they think, right? Because you're coming to them like you're a kid still.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me personally, that's what I feel is like a big thing that you just don't do. If I have an issue, I'm not going to Facebook because I don't need y'all opinion.
Facts.
I'm not going
It's all
to,
internal.
my mom. It's something that I need to sit down and talk to my husband about.
Yep.
Facts.
I feel the same way. I feel like when I was married, my mom and dad understood the boundaries. So they never really overstepped the line. But I do feel like a big portion of us getting divorced was the influence of her mom. Right? Because
Her mom, not your mom.
no, her mom.
I got you.
But her mom, because her mom wanted to. She had ideas and ideologies of what she should do based on how her and her husband functioned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when we came up to difficult situations, crossroads, the advice that she was getting from her mom wasn't conducive to a healthy relationship for us.
Right.
So from that experience now, you know, I mean, again, with my now going on now, my mom understood these things. And my dad kind of understood these things. So they kind of taught me the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I talked to my mom and dad on.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Was her mom in a successful marriage?
No, they're not. And you know what's crazy? Is that the whole time. See, I had the things that you don't find out until later when you get older. But they both had affairs. And they both had like drug addictions on the side. So you're not even getting counsel from sound counsel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, so my mom and my dad, my mom and my dad kind of worked out where I talked to them more on like spiritual guidance. And then when I talked to my parents, even if I brought problems from when I was just dating, my mom and dad were like, well, you can't control that person. So let's work on you. You know what I mean? And I think that if you're going to get relationship advice or whatever, then the parent should focus on how to make you a better person in that. And because you can't control the other people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you got to control those boundaries like that. I mean, from living and experiencing it, it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
My mom never acted like my wife because she's always had a husband.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Asa brought up a point that was like, whoa, it's the truth. A lot of Black women, we raised our children in single parent households, and it's like you're busting everything so that your child can do better. So some of these people do feel that once their child's in that position to do better, it's like you owe me.
That you owe, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very much how she sounded, like she was entitled to
Except
it.
for
Like,
I didn't ask to
I'm
be
your
here in
mother.
the first place.
I'm your mother.
Yeah.
You took that away from me. I felt so unsupported. Like,
And
girl,
then just
I'm
even
about your house, a car, what else am I supposed to
the
do?
ideology that he said that she felt like she was being dethroned from queen. That's not your queen. That's your mom.
That threw me.
That-
You understand what I'm saying? That's not your
That's
queen.
weird. That's toxic.
That's your mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not dethroning her from anything. She's your mother. That's your biological order, right?
Yeah.
Your queen is your wife.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But so even though I feel like he worded it wrong, his idea of protecting
I don't think
his
he
wife.
worded it
No,
wrong.
I agree with everything
I
he
think he
said.
worded it exactly what the
he meant.
situation is.
Yeah.
And it was a very toxic
Well,
situation.
well,
but
if
his
because-
wife, though, is like a health guru. She's
Yeah.
big on mental health. So I
Yeah.
think his mom didn't like that she came in and became more of a positive influence as far as like boundaries and mental health.
Yeah.
Because the way that he worded it was exactly what it is.
The relationship between out of just respect and love for your son as a man, if he's bringing someone to you and he's like, yo, this person is the one, the relationship should have started at that point between the mother and
Yeah.
It
But
should have.
She
But
saw
the-
her as a threat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She was
that's,
taking
that's
them
why
away.
it's so
It
trash.
should, but not if somebody
She gets
sees you
honorary
as a
trash
threat
as fuck.
because they're not,
Yeah.
you know,
They're not
they
buying
don't
into
know
her
that
vision.
they don't have appropriate boundaries themselves. They don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he can't ever change the way that his mom's how she is. I mean, but he can control his own
She
relationship.
treated
and his
him like the
marriage and his
ex, and he got a
children.
new girlfriend.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's where the unhealthiness of it is.
I think going in, they had, like you said, unhealthy boundaries before he was ever in a relationship.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think that's the root too. Is a lot of people have unhealthy
Yeah.
boundaries with their parents before
Exactly.
they even get in relationships.
Yep. And then when it changes, then it's like, oh, it changed because of this person.
No.
And if you get rid of that person, then what we had will go back to being the same. When in reality, what you had originally
Was already fucked up.
unhealthy.
Unhealthy.
Facts.
Photo B.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to say because everybody's talking about healthy boundaries within a relationship, but
Yeah.
I've seen it outside of relationships, and it's 100% important as hell to have those boundaries because with any kind of person, whether it's family, friends, whatever,
Yeah.
you got to have those boundaries because they're not with you 24/7.
Facts.
They're not in your head 24/7. They're not dealing with what you're dealing with 24/7. Their life, their experiences are not the same as yours. So if they're bringing in something that's not cohesive with what it is that you're trying to do, you gotta set those boundaries. Like, hey, I'll see you then. I'll talk to you about this, but not about this because I don't like what you talk about. I don't like what you're bringing in.
Yeah.
I don't like your input because it's not cohesive with what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's not
Or
conducive
you
to
just have
positive
a
results.
different
Exactly.
ideology than me. Like the way that me and Tyson run our finances is not the same way somebody else does.
Facts.
So my advice is going to be coming from something that's not even
It's
conducive
gonna be
to
biased.
how y'all do.
It's
Yeah,
biased
it's
to
not
how you do it,
how
yeah.
you do shit. So my advice is not going to help. First of all, my advice shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
that part.
it's like I can only talk about my experience. So I think people need to be able to discern
Right.
the type of information.
'Cause we've had the
and shit you
conversation.
should just
Man,
We've
that
had the
word.
conversation
Let's
about
say that
joint
again.
accounts.
Discernment.
Yeah, we've had even the conversation with joint accounts. Like, we don't do joint accounts. You know what I mean? But you guys like joint accounts. You know what I'm
Me
saying?
and my husband don't have joint accounts either.
So
I went to Jamaica and was spending too much money. He was, he was like,
look, because I just think that's just how we work. You know what I mean? Be I'm not mad at somebody who does have a joint account.
No, yeah.
I just know that I've had a joint account drained from.
But
me
you
before.
could, but
So-
you could go into, you could be the type of person that be like, oh, don't. You could take your experience and be like, oh, don't do this.
Oh,
You
cast
know,
it on someone
You know
else,
what I'm saying?
huh?
You,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You sowing seeds of discord in somebody else's house based on your experience when they shit going good.
Yeah, I think that's
That's the
where
problem.
I think that's where the
That's the
problem.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the problem comes in, and people will always say, "Oh, well, here's my advice," but in reality, is they cross a boundary when they're like, "Here's my advice," and then there's a consequence to it, like, "But you should do this," and if you don't do it, then
This
there's
is gonna
consequences
happen.
tied to it. It's like, so really, it's not even advice; it's
This is
I'm trying to contort you into doing what I want you to do,
And the fear
and
factor.
reality of it is not. And you brought up something that was really important to me, that it has to be from the beginning. And I think people have to understand boundaries are not easy, and they can be very uncomfortable. So when me and Candace first got married, and just being totally transparent, so her parents are Hebrew Israelites. So there was already a difference of opinion in some of the things right there. So when we got married, the marriage ceremony, and I respect the hell out of them. They're lovely parents, lovely people. We get along, everything's good. But at the beginning, we told them that we were going to jump the broom. and they were totally against it. They said no. And then that night before the wedding, they called. They said, you guys, change it. You guys need to consider changing it. I don't think you guys know what you're doing. This has very much different undertones, blah, 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 blah. And I just told them, I said, look, we're jumping the broom. You guys either come or you guys don't. If you don't come, we still love you. If you do come, still going to love you. I said, but we're not changing it. And then that whole day was like, well, you guys need to reconsider, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm not changing it. This is what me and her, this is what we agreed to, because we're doing that to make sure that we are paying homage to our ancestors, that when they, could not get married, that they did jump the broom. And I said, to me, there's no spiritual negative impact on doing that. And I said, so again, you guys either come or don't. And we didn't change it, and they still came. And that's setting a boundary. It's, you have an opinion, but this is what we decided to do.
Nigga, this is my life.
And and it's either you guys come or you don't. And then the decision is on you. Yeah. It's not on me, because I already know what I'm going to do.
But it's hard for parents to... Being able to do that comes with a level of respect. Right. I can respect what you want to do, even though I don't agree with it.
And
but
they still came to the wedding.
To respect their children.
And they still came.
Because they still came. What I'm saying? It's like the hierarchy. Like, you're my child. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, with the respect, it's hard for that respect to go the other way sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
For them to be able to accept something like that.
Yeah.
Man, one of my favorite lines, man, when with my mom is, she would ask me for stuff, and I'd be like, you got a husband.
Well, see, my dad died of lung cancer when I was 18, so my mom is very much like, even though she masters of social work from I was gonna say UCLA, she's a Trojan, but
USC,
she gonna get mad at me. Opposite school, USC. But
rivals.
She right.
That was blasphemy.
She got. I was like, oh, she gonna get mad at me. She has a really good job, but she's used to having that man that was head of the household. Jamaican man, they take care of everything, and she's very used to being like frivolous with her money. So it's like she's always, I need my rent paid. And it's like, man, you don't need like $400 for rent. You need $1,500. That doesn't make no sense, Mom. And she's so used to me being like, whatever. And now once I got married, it's kind of like worse. Because then she feels like, you got two incomes. Why not? And then she's like, this is where I had to draw the line. I say, Mom, I can't do it. She started calling my husband. Oh, fine.
Not calling them. Not calling the spouse.
Pull the step.net.
I had to tell her, do not do that. And then she even went and complained to my sister.
No.
And my sister was like, I'm trying to explain to her, like, they might have separate bank accounts, but they still have shared finances. They got to pay mortgage.
They're a unit.
We still got to factor in these things.
So you can't just be like, I need $1,500 and think that, like, if Zenzi says no, he's going to say yes.
Yeah, because the shared bank account for is like, we got to pay the mortgage. You got to pay these bills.
All the necessary stuff.
You live your life. But my mom asked me to buy her a house. And that was, my mom.
My mom's not above that. My mom's been trying to tell us come to Humboldt, because now she's working for Humboldt County. She's like, if you just bought this property, it's 40 acres up here, and there's a little house on it. You guys could look. There's a little house on it that I could live in, and you could build a house. So where are we living?
You don't even have a house yet.
And I don't even have a house for me. I'm like, Mom, it's a VA loan. You got to have your primary residence. She's like, well, the little house I could live in. So where, you're still not clear. Where are we living?
I'm supposed to live.
Where are me? Right. Like my baby and my son and my husband living.
Yeah. But you know what? I think we also, because I think a lot of times those unhealthy relationships, not always, but I think majority is like single parent moms.
Well, I was about to say that.
Because
it's bred out of survival.
So but I also think that we need to make sure that we're not, because I think a lot of people will kind of hear this conversation and we all understand what we're saying, but I do think that it is honorable to take care of your parents.
Absolutely.
And because I think there's some people that will take it to the extreme and say, oh, now that I'm married, you're kind of on your own, where I've seen elderly people that they're not getting no help at all. You know what I mean? Nobody checking on them. They put them in a home, whatever,
Trash.
which everybody makes their decisions on their own. I'm not trying to shame anybody, but what I'm saying is, for me personally, what I decided on, and this is a conversation that me and my wife have had, where if either one of our parents get to the point where they're not able to take care of ourselves, that the honorable thing to do would be to take care of them. But we have to agree on what capacity that is. Because she's the oldest in her family and I'm the oldest in my family. So to me, that's my responsibility if they get, because they took care of me. So when they get to a place where they can't take care of themselves, I'm going to take care of them. But again, if she wasn't on board with that, then we need to have a conversation. I can't push that on to her and say, this is what we're doing. Because she may not be on board with it.
You got to do what we did. You got to just start buying her stocks and crypto and let it sit.
Man,
that's what y'all
got to let me know what's up.
Because that's what I did. That's what I'm doing for my
mom.
I'm investing in my mom's future.
For her. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely, I'm going to get with you.
Because I don't want to pay for it. Later.
You know
I
what
love my
figure?
mama, but
Jamaica. I will build. We got 5 acres. I'm gonna build.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
build a house. It's cheap to have. You know, some help there.
Yeah,
you got maids and everything. Mom, you all right? 20,000.
No, we need that 40,000 mansion.
Man, the 40,000 is a mansion.
Go ahead, Photo.
It's actually very, very interesting that we brought up this conversation today because it was either yesterday or before yesterday. My little sister called me. Right, not my little sister. My little sister who's like 25. Right, she called me the other day and she was like, do you feel like you have to take care of mom? And my answer was no. The reason why I say no is because my mom is one of the people too where it's like you have to help her the way that she wants to help. But you can't always help her. Like I would love to if I can, but even talking to her has been like difficult due to how she likes to react.
See, I wonder if you as a boy, because that's how my brother is.
What?
Like, he feels like, he says if you teach a man to fish, that's like his favorite thing. I'm like, mom's asking me for $1,500. He's like, she asked me for that shit. You know?
No,
because she knows who to go to.
Well, it's real because like my mom hasn't really reached out to me and I don't know why. She thinks there's like I have some type of animosity towards her, which in a sense kind of, but not to the point to where it's like I don't want to talk to her.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've gone through not talking to her for months because I gave up. Because I tried to call her, she wouldn't call me back. I wouldn't talk to her for hella long, and she would be months before I talked to her because she called me. So it was kind of like I ended up being used to that because look, she's going to do her thing. I got to do my thing. She's not going to tell me what she got going on. So what am I supposed to do? Right. So that's kind of also involved with that healthy boundaries. I can't help you out because you don't want to tell me the truth. So it's not easy to talk to you and ask you what's going on because I know you're not telling me the truth. You have a certain thing going on with life to where you don't want help because you feel like everything that you've been doing has been with somebody else. You couldn't be doing anything on your own 2 feet. So what the fuck am I supposed to do? Right. So
until you're in a rock and a hard spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So right now, I can't do anything. You can reach out to me. I'll talk to you. I can't put you in a position to win.
Right.
Because I'm still trying to put myself in a position to win.
Right.
When I get there, then for sure.
Right.
But you got to figure out what the hell you want to do.
Right.
And you also got to be willing to take the help because if you feel like you haven't been able to do anything on your own for your entire life, you always had to have a man help you out.
Right.
You're going to feel some type of way when your son have to help you out.
Yeah, you kind of
so what is it that you want?
The help.
Right. So it's like, I get why my little sister always talks to my mom because my little sister lives in Kentucky. She doesn't have like hands on. She can't be hands on. My mom ain't gonna hit me up and shit because my hands on is I'll pull up and talk to you and figure out what's going on and try to get you out of a situation and shit because she knows how I am.
So the type of help she wants enabler help. She doesn't want you to. She doesn't want you to position. Or she doesn't want to take the onus to reposition.
But that's why I think it's maybe a son-daughter thing, element there too, because like men are more like goal oriented. Like this is
that's true.
We're getting to the bottom of this, and that's how my brother is. He's gonna be like
solution based.
Yeah, solution. What's the problem? We're gonna fix it. Whereas
he's like,
no, that's real.
I'm
that's
just like,
real
girl,
because
take the money. You need to manage your finances. This is ridiculous.
That's a good
but
point.
she's gonna come back in another month.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, so like, exactly. Like I can't help you out if I don't know what it is that you want to do.
Right.
You're not situated yourself to where you actually have a clear path or clear
Right.
goal. You want land. What the fuck are you going to do when you get land?
Right.
What the fuck are you going to do to get the land?
What's the plan?
What's the plan?
Right.
You want your own shit, but what are you doing to get your own shit?
Right.
Facts.
You're
So it's
looking
like-
for a long-term solution instead of a band-aid.
Right.
Exactly.
Because a band-aid
because,
is
like-
because it's going to be the same thing next week or
Exactly.
2 weeks from now. Yeah.
Exactly. I've
Band-Aid,
seen her
you-
going in and out of situations and always ends up being the same shit. And it's like,
Gotcha.
Is it your fault?
Even Band-Aids hurt when you peel them off.
It's a huge accountability.
At some point, it
this
is.
situation, too.
You know what I mean? And what I really feel like is you just gotta sometimes just recognize people for who they are and what they are, and they're doing the best in their own situation with what they know at that time and place.
Sometimes.
Most people.
Yeah.
I would say most people.
Yeah, I would say that. I would agree.
Because I know I can look back over my life and there's decisions that I made that I look back like, why the fuck did I do that? But with my mindset at the time, the education that I had, the experience that I had, that was the best decision that I could make at that time.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
I agree. I think
better,
most people in those situations do. But there are a small percentage of people that know better and don't do better.
don't do better. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo, speaking of people that know better but don't do better.
Oh, is that time?
Trash as fuck.
Trash as fuck. First off, I want to give an honorary trash as fuck shout out to Terry Crews because I saw that nigga in Training Day yesterday as a thug, and it pissed me off. I was like, this nigga does all this goofy ass shit, all this cornball ass shit, all this black supremacy shit. You know what I mean? And then I watched him in Training Day with Denzel, buff ass fuck. I was like, you're not even a thug at all. It bothered me. So I just want to give him honorary trash as fuck.
I'm done.
Oh yeah, he wasn't.
Like
He was.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm thinking. I'm like,
He
was
was.
he?
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
standing
he
right
was.
behind the nigga holding the gun.
Yeah, he was.
You gonna shoot me? You know what I'm saying?
He was.
I've
All
never
right.
seen
Anyway,
Training Day.
but my real trash as fuck.
Wait, hold on. What?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said nothing.
I was
Wait, what'd you
confused
say?
too. Like,
What'd you
hold
say?
on, you just now saw Training Day?
I know.
No.
Watch it again.
No, what Steph just said. Steph, you
I
want to
said
repeat
I
that?
ain't never seen Training Day. I was rooting for you.
You never seen
What?
You never see all the clips.
She ain't
I
seen
seen the clips.
She ain't
So
seen
it's
no.
kind of like I seen the movie because I
No. You ain't seen The Wire. You ain't seen Training Day. Oh.
I ain't seen The Wire either.
Oh.
You ain't
I
seen
seen Training Day,
You
but
ain't
I ain't seen The Wire. But there's a lot of other black movies I ain't seen.
Nah,
So
nigga, it's a lot of black
yeah.
things you don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Go
Anyway,
ahead.
he's from the Mountain Caucasus.
You ain't seen Training Day.
Sorry.
Anyway, so
Denzel's best
don't be sorry about your truth.
that's true.
Speak your truth.
Speak your truth, Queen.
Your life is different than everybody else's, all right?
That's right.
Shut up.
The non-biased.
Wow, I'm trying to help you out. I'll be on your side. Tell me shit. Wow, okay.
You
bet.
trying to be funny. You ain't trying to help me.
I'm being dead ass.
It's not your genre.
This nigga looks
it's
like Lil
alright.
TJ. Lil
No,
TJ.
it
Cause
ain't.
that's
No, it ain't all right. No, all right.
There's
The
no
Wire
grace.
and
There's no
Training
grace
Day
for
are
you.
like the
The
same.
Wire I can understand
They're
because
the same
it's
genre.
a show.
So maybe that's just not her
It's a
thing,
show.
like the drug dealing.
Man, this nigga is 1990s, 2000, early 2000, black.
I just ain't seen it. Damn.
Yeah, but just
Accept
because he's
that.
black
So
don't mean you
disappointed.
gotta go with the
He's
drug dealing
highly
stuff.
disappointed. They usually agree.
That's
Training
alright.
Day. That's one of
Can
the
I
things
give her a
Rob
womp
will
womp
be okay.
womp?
So am I getting trash or stuff? Can we get to who trash or is it me?
Next episode.
Black Card revoked.
Next episode.
Can we get to the trash or you just go?
Okay. Hey.
I'm here for you,
Hey,
Steph.
hey, if you watch Training Day, you would know King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
And she was like, she was like, isn't that from Malibu's Most Wanted?
I seen that clip.
Anyway, look, man, let me give people trash.
And you know what? That's not true because she watched Snowfall, so there's
She
no
did.
excuse.
Oh, that's my show.
See, here we go.
See, there's no
Snowfall
excuse.
over the wire.
This is what I'm talking
You were trying to
about.
give her bail, and I just remembered that.
The irrational rationale.
Snowfall way better than the wire.
Oh no, we
But you
ain't
don't
doing
even
that.
know.
We're not
I
doing
watched
that.
season 1.
No,
and half
no,
of
we're
season
not doing
2.
that.
You know
we're
you
not
gotta
doing
get to
that.
season 3 of the
We're
Wire
not
before
doing
you
that.
start jumping.
It was too trash.
We're not doing that. No,
He's upset.
no, you're not doing
He's
that.
upset.
You're
He's
not
a
doing that
high-value
today.
man now. You gotta
Not
listen to him.
today.
Snowfall.
We gotta listen to him.
I ain't gonna say Snowfall is better than Wire. You ain't even seen it.
I did.
No,
I
you
watched
didn't.
majority
You
of
tried
Look
to.
what Terry Crews trash ass did
Come
to us.
on, man.
Anyway, look, man, because I just got vaccinated, right? Because I'm a part of the club of people who might be zombies later on.
Oh my god.
I'm giving trash as fuck to all the doctors who are writing fake vaccine cards and giving out fake. Have you seen that?
No.
And fake prescriptions not to wear masks.
Charging $50.
$50 in Florida. They're charging $50.
Are these like legit doctors?
Yes,
because they could lose their
one
medical
is in Napa
license.
and the other one is in Florida.
He was fined. He didn't lose his license.
So
was
this
fine.
is why it's trash.
Well, I mean, if you're saying that there's a medically
Yes, he was fine.
reason
But they're probably
why
gonna,
they
they're
have
probably
to
gonna,
wear a
he's
mask.
probably gonna get, what is that called? Malpractice.
Malpractice
Yeah,
suit.
so they're probably gonna get him for malpractice later on, but he's fine immediately. So there's a lady in Napa who was also writing fake vaccine cards. Anyhow,
I believe it. Napa, Florida.
anyhow, you're goddamn trash. You know what I'm saying? Like this, you may not know if there's a pandemic going on if you live in Alaska, but you work in a goddamn hospital. How trash do you have to be to promote anything against?
This has gotten so politicized. So it's
crazy.
not even. It's not
It's
even
always been that.
science. It's not even based on their medical knowledge. They're just going with that
But they're-
far right.
They're charging
Taking
people.
away my freedom.
They're but still, if you want to do that, just do that. Like somebody would. If you're a doctor, my guy,
People are just stupid.
why are you making a profit?
Facts.
Why are you
That part.
making
I
a profit
cannot.
on
I
this?
cannot go to my job and cuss my boss out. I have the freedom to do so.
Yes.
But I also have the freedom to get my ass fired too.
The
I
freedom
think
to have
people
no more
don't
money.
want to accept that there's consequences to freedom of speech.
Yo,
you can say
facts.
whatever you want.
Well,
to say.
there's consequences to whatever you do. So if you decide not to wear a mask, then deal with the consequences. And there was a video that some white boy posted that he said, if you don't trust the medical field to say what is true with COVID and all this other shit, then when you get sick, do not go to the same hospital that you were saying that you don't trust their medical
That's fucking
expertise.
facts. That's fucking
This is
facts.
my question on exactly that. Now, if we're gonna sit here and people are like, "Oh, your immune system this, and your immune system can fight off the virus,"
Don't go to the hospital.
then why isn't your immune system good enough to take a vaccine?
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Well, that's what I came to at the end of the day. I was like, yo, I'd never get sick, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's telling me I might get sick or whatever. I feel fucking phenomenal. I'm gonna go do a cartwheel off the car later.
What people don't realize is like, bruh, you taking vaccines. Like, are y'all not
mandatory.
Mandatory.
Do you
There
go to
are
California public schools?
Well, wait, and not even that. When you travel to certain countries, don't you got to
You
take
still
a
gotta
vaccine?
get
Yes.
Yes.
So
I was on
so-
antibiotics for 12 months straight because
Right.
you got to be on this antibiotic doxycycline in Afghanistan because of malaria.
So this freedom that you claim that you had when you went to go on your resort or to whatever that you wanted to travel and have a good time, you had to take a vaccine.
Honestly, I think a lot of the people that are saying this, like you said, aren't the most intelligent, and most of them haven't traveled very much.
Well, and you know,
As if
and
they did,
I-
they would have the experience of doing that. It
I
wouldn't
think
be that
that-
big of a deal.
hold on. And I'm sorry. Let me clear this up for people that are listening. That somebody might clip this 5 years from later, trying to counsel us. We're not saying the people that have decided not to take the vaccine. If you have your own conviction, then you do. What we're saying is the people that have politicized this, the far right people that are making it seem like it is a freedom thing or that the government is trying to take your freedoms away. Those are who we're talking about. If
Right.
you
Like
if
it's
you
a
are making a
government
decision,
overreach.
yes, if you are making a decision not to take the vaccine because you feel like that has not been researched or because, for whatever reason,
Right.
you have the freedom to do so.
Right.
And nobody would tell you,
You also
anything.
have the freedom to get this criticism.
Well,
Your stupid ass.
okay, so he's speaking for himself.
I
I'm
am.
speaking for me. There are reasons, and especially with black people, that there are reasons why we do not trust the
Tuskegee
public
being
health.
one.
Right, I'm just saying. So, but I'm saying
And
that
I
we can't
understand
that we can't that we
I
that we
understand that.
cannot.
Another.
I'm just saying that we
But
cannot
like
discount.
Steph just brought up, public schools. California has a whole list of vaccines you have to have to attend public
absolutely.
schools. So those are mandatory vaccinations.
Right, but
Now,
but for
to-
those
to have
parents,
EBT.
they'll like homeschool.
EBT,
You gotta have vaccine to get EBT?
yes, if your child is not vaccinated, they are not
did
giving
not
you, they
know.
need to
See,
see the
see,
baby's vaccine cards.
that I
So
wouldn't know
now
about.
y'all out here acting like off this
'Cause she
one
don't need EBT.
vaccination.
I tried so hard not to
You stupid.
But y'all feel me, off this one
was bad.
vaccination, everyone's freaking out.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm not going to get, they're trying to, force me. How can you make a vaccine mandatory? Girl, these vaccines been mandatory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like this. I feel like it's two ways. Even though I did a lot of the research and people with O type blood are least likely to get it. And we're not that high. We're not highly contagious to it. No one in my family, my immediate family, because all me and my kids and their mom, we're all O negative.
Ain't
Yeah.
all black people? Oh,
No.
No,
No.
he's not.
I'm not. I don't
A
think-
major, a big. I can't even say that. I won't say that because I don't have the facts.
But
I don't have the facts.
But anyway, so I did it because I work in San Francisco, and it just is what it is. And the owners of buildings are not gonna let you in, whether you're sick or you're not sick. And it is what it is. And it's probably gonna come down to everybody being mandatory vax.
It is.
And who am I to be run off my back?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
While at the same time saving lives in China. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got a side job from bruh. This nigga's dad's name is Chris Brown.
That's his middle name.
When he called, my phone said Chris Brown. I was like, I ain't talked to this nigga in like 6 years. And then I answered the phone, and it was not Chris Brown. But anyway, like even like the side jobs, or the other jobs that we're doing, people want you to
People
be
need to be
vaccinated
vaccinated before you
know what
come
I'm
into the
saying?
house.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Because I had contractors that somebody that was about to be working on my house, and they was like, "Hey, we're gonna have to postpone because I got COVID." And I'm like,
yeah,
It happens.
it's real.
yeah.
It's real.
I'm fully vaccinated. I got it. Not right now, but
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah.
And like for me, the reason why I felt like I'm gonna go ahead and get this vaccine is I pulled up, like, I'm not gonna listen to the random Facebook conversations.
Yeah.
Let me research first.
Yeah.
And I want to know what the CDC said and the VA about, breastfeeding. And then there were multiple studies that said, hey, they're finding that the babies have antibodies as well. So for me, it was like, I need to protect
Both.
the person
Yeah.
that's the youngest person that could, really be sick from this, which
Yeah.
was my baby,
Yeah.
and myself, because I have autoimmune issues. And I have what they call RAD, reactive airway disease. So this smoke that's in the air, it's not my actual lungs, like with asthma where it's your lung capacity, it's my airway can close up. So when we're talking about something that affects the airway and breathing, I didn't feel like I wanted to play around with that.
Right.
Now my husband's at work, and like I said, it be your own people. Oh, if your wife jump off a bridge, you gonna jump off too? Like, my husband's like, she's the smartest person I know.
Right.
This is who I'm gonna follow.
Right.
Because, like I said, we're not just listening. I'm not going with the masses.
You ain't listening to
Yeah,
them.
because those union guys will try to make you feel bad for taking the vaccine.
No, but
for
then
sure.
the union ended up paying. Like, they're trying to tell people, like, oh, $1,500, get in this lottery if you take it, because you're working together, and they don't want to close down the job site. So what happened was the person that was laughing at us,
10 months total.
Yeah.
the person that was laughing at us, like, oh, y'all
got
got
COVID?
that vaccine, was the person that got sick with COVID.
Nice.
And then they were like, you had posted, COVID is not a family secret.
Talking about this,
Man, tell people.
Tell people. I had to find out from Facebook. His baby mama complaining because baby mamas, like you said, love to tell it. She tell it. He brought this vaccine. He brought this sickness to my house. And I'm like, I had to get on there like, girl, how
This is why
come
you gotta
nobody
have
told
one.
us?
This is why you gotta have one chick. That's why it's too much.
telling you.
It's too much maintenance.
But so I ended up like feeling very stuffed up, like my eyes were hurting, my nose was hurting. It felt like a really bad sinus infection. Like when I tell you, behind my eyes had that.
Come on, after
pressure.
the shot.
that's
After you took the
Like,
shot.
No, after I got sick with COVID.
Oh,
I
okay.
was positive.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know until, like I said, the person's baby mama posted it. So then I'm like, man,
Oh,
my
so you
baby
gotta-
been throwing up.
Oh,
My
got it.
baby been throwing up and having a fever, girl. Like, I wish y'all would have said something, because all
That's
week.
trash.
That is
So
trash.
People keeping it a secret when they get it.
when they
That's
get
what
it,
should be
people
trash.
aren't
My
sharing that
homegirl
because they're
Robin just got it,
embarrassed. Because they're embarrassed that they went and they talked all that. Oh, I'm not getting the vaccine. And
You know
then
what?
they get sick.
I was just reading. I was just telling somebody because I haven't gone anywhere. I still haven't traveled. You know what I mean? I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere and contract anything because I
Right.
got small kids. But I was just watching one of my homegirls travel all over the place. No shot. As soon as they open it back up, going to the club, got to go to every restaurant. I'm like, yo, do you still realize people are still dying from this?
Man.
And now they got sick, and then and had pneumonia at the same time.
And pneumonia.
Yep. And then their friend got sick, and then the friend's mom died.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
See?
That's crazy.
But
You know what I'm
people
saying?
don't take it serious until it's them.
Until it's close.
Because, like I said, I'm not gonna say which brother, but husband's brother over here doing all that laughing. And then once it was like, man, his baby's sick now, my baby's sick.
Yeah.
Baby mom got pneumonia in the hospital.
But
best friends on a
that's why I gotta give them trash as fuck.
breathing machine in the
Give the
hospital.
doctors.
You give the doctors trash as fuck, because what you're doing is you're perpetuating and you're helping to elevate a lie.
Yeah.
Right? So
I agree with that.
You're putting lives in danger and putting lives at risk, and then we don't know who's going home to elderly people or people who are going home, like you said, autoimmune disorders, or people who have immune
Compromised
deficiencies,
immune system.
MS, and all
That's
these
true.
other.
Well, and then as a
kinds of
doctor,
things, you know what I'm
you took an oath, and what you're doing is you're putting other people's lives in danger,
Exactly.
Right.
and you should lose your license for
Right.
that,
So
like ASAP, like
Right.
so. And I'm pretty
Because
sure that
there's
he's
too
under
much-
effect. Go ahead.
There's too much disinformation out there. Like we were saying earlier, everything's at your fingertips nowadays.
Yeah,
So people are getting on here and the internet, and a lot of people's main source of news really is Facebook.
That's trash.
Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also there's an algorithm, right?
yeah.
They show you what you like.
Well,
So they're very much in this bubble of disinformation.
Yep.
you know what's crazy? If you go to your Facebook settings and you go to your profile, I forgot what tab it's under, but it actually identifies you as left, moderate, conservative, whatever. And I think your algorithm is based on that. So like, and I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, did I pick this? And it's like, no, I think it analyzes what you post or what you kind of links you share. And then I think it says like, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it says like far left or progressive
that was
or
an issue that they sat in front of Congress with because of Trump and like the
All the fake
perpetuation
news,
of the
yeah.
Hillary
Yeah.
and her emails and all the fake stuff that happened going into that election cycle.
Yeah.
Because what happened was there was a lot of stuff that was Facebook has that algorithm,
Yeah.
and we need to be very aware of this. Is Russia. You know, being in the military, one of the things that where they're really starting to push is that intel and psych ops and how information gets fed, because it wasn't just us.
yeah.
Who got their own little bald head, messed up comb over version of
Yeah,
Trump.
yeah.
England. Remember the same thing. There was a lot of Russian targeted
Attacks
fake news
and stuff.
attacks on telling them, hey, you're not European, break away. And then now you have Brexit.
Yep.
And it was not really a good idea.
Right.
Like the entire British government's like, this is a terrible idea, but the people voted for it.
Yep.
And they voted for it because they got that disinformation.
Exactly.
So
And it
we
was
have to
being
be aware.
Flooded.
Exactly. And one thing that they found is the more you see it, the more you start to
think it's
believe
true.
maybe this is true.
That's facts.
Even if the first time you see it, you're like, that's
This is
dumb.
stupid.
But
Yep.
then if Stephanie shares it, well, I like Stephanie and Stephanie thinks it, so maybe I need to read this.
Yeah.
That's true.
That you was
Yeah, I think this is a good
They don't
this is
read
a good time to remind people to, for one, again with the vaccine, just make the best decision for yourself, and ensure that the information that you are reading and that you are looking at is accurate. And just like a journalist, check your sources, 2 or
Verify
3,
the source.
verify
I
the
need,
source.
I need when my superpowers kick in. I need freezing, invisibility, and flight.
Nah, like,
All right, man.
well, on the real quick on the research thing, because there was 2 videos that came up, and one of them was a white dude in like a blue blazer or whatever, talking about pretty much saying that the vaccine is so bad that within like 6 months to 3 to 5 years they're all going to die.
I think I saw
But
that.
That one, I did my research in that one. He's not credible. Now, the one that I did look at was Christina Parkins, black woman. She's a doctor, but she said something along the lines of essentially the vaccine only works on the variant that they did the initial study.
Yeah,
on.
not the
So
Delta.
not the Delta. So you're not getting the same. The vaccine is what she said was the vaccine isn't necessarily going to work with the actual Delta, which is why it's
the
being
Delta
spread
is-
out.
Was
So
it-
Which
it's
is
still
true.
being
We
spread.
know these things.
Was it 6 months to 35 years or 6 months to 35?
He
That's
wants to know
what
when
I'm
he's
saying.
gonna
That's what I'm
die.
saying. But see, don't worry about that because it wasn't incredible.
Well, I need to know how I need to live my life.
Well, he said.
But the second person you're saying she's a doctor.
She's more credible.
She is more credible, but we need to start looking because I see things shared that's like, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not but are you a virologist? Like, do you study viruses? Because just because you're a doctor does not mean you really know what you're talking about.
In that,
you are not an expert in this field.
Right.
Boom. Now,
There's a lot of
what
people
she
in scrubs that are
said
janitors,
is like
trust
common
me.
knowledge, though, when it comes to viruses. That's why every year with the flu shot, you don't get like one strain. They give you like the 10 most common strains that they think you might get sick with that year.
Yeah.
So possibly with COVID, maybe it will become a once a year thing. But right now we're having such a like failed rollout of this vaccine. I don't know if we'll get there.
Yeah.
But
at some point,
I mean,
we're
people
supposed to take
feel
a
the
booster.
same way about the flu, right? I've had people say, "Oh, no one dies of the flu." I'm like, no, the flu was a pandemic.
Yeah.
Just like this.
Yep.
And like you said, I'm healthy. I never get sick. You know who it affected? The men.
Mm-hmm.
Men that were, in the early 30s were dropping like flies. The Spanish flu. And killed over 500,000 North Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why we have
Flu vaccine.
a flu vaccine.
To this day. And I know I was
Exactly.
one of the people that
I've never had a flu vaccine.
I still don't get
I
it.
have.
I haven't had my flu shot in.
I get it because you know what? I get it. I was in the military. It's mandatory. So when I go to the VA, it hasn't done me wrong for the past, 8 years
No, I got
in
you.
the military. So I continue to get it. Me personally,
not gonna eat
the
healthy
stupidest people, I don't care, y'all can say it, the stupidest people to me that are sitting here complaining about the COVID vaccine are the people that are veterans in the military, especially if you've deployed to the Middle East. Because come on, they shot us up with 3 rounds of anthrax.
Right.
Like
That's what I'm
I'm
saying, yeah.
I'm not worried about COVID. I'm worried about anthrax that they
Okay.
gave to us.
shit.
Like,
Man, it's a hypocrisy for
We're
me.
gonna be zombies
Don't
anyway.
don't be going to where we be going? Don't be going to Mexico to get to get work done
A
in your
DR,
body, but then
go
you
to
don't
DR,
want to
get a
come and
BBL.
do a vaccine.
Man.
Bro, my
man.
best friend just came back from getting hers, and she got infections. I know like 4 or
That's
5
what I'm
people
saying,
got
man.
infections.
Y'all
Got
be
blood
tripping.
infections.
Y'all going all down there getting your teeth done.
Right,
Let these people work.
right. Niggas with no licenses.
it's
Yeah,
$10,000
but then
cheaper
Niggas
than
with
Mexico.
no.
But
Niggas
then
with
you don't
no
want to get no
licenses.
vaccine.
But you scared of the vaccine.
Man,
I'm
come on,
done.
man. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We done held y'all for about 3 hours, man.
3 hours?
Yeah.
lit.
So we
Mixing that shit
appreciate y'all
forever.
listening. Again for the people that are in Louisiana for Hurricane Ida, prayers are with you. Hopefully, for those that are on the Reverb Nation, that those are on Instagram. If you have any credible sources that are organizations that are credible that can get on the ground that can help, please share it so we can share it, because we do want to share that information, because if it is as bad as what they're predicting, then people will need help. So we want to get that information out as soon as possible. If you have any other ideas of where we can help, we want to organize where, we're in Sacramento. If there's anything that we can donate or help to, then we will. So we want to thank Zenzi for coming on and schooling us, giving us her expertise. We want to thank all the veterans that have served again. And we want to just thank y'all again for listening. And we are going to let y'all get out of here.
Poopity scoop.
Peace out.
Scoop.
You just let it go.